Yeah, dude, in my van, I had a wizard, a frontiersman, Nick Huff was there, and Terry.
Yeah.
And me. It was like the craziest crew you've ever fucking seen. You know?
That's a good way to like describe Nick as a frontiersman.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Man, well, dude, thank you for reaching out and making this a very easy thing to get here and do this podcast with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's the culture that you have helped cultivate and bring forth from the past to now. And as I'm young into this, getting into it, figuring all this shit out, like it's so fucking interesting. But it's like it's an education as well. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's enough that there's a history to it, even. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's become part of it, part of the tapestry of the culture at this point, you know, at least a decade or so, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, when we came into this industry, you know, we were just so inspired that we were literally like, we couldn't learn shit fast enough to leave our mark on whatever the fuck we're doing, you know? Like, dude's doing photography, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, guy writes, you know, like, you know, and this dude draws shit. And it's like, so people started like getting together and putting together blogs and stuff, you know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I don't think the podcast thing was even a thing at that point.
No,
right?
not in the 2000s.
Yeah, 2005, 10 era.
It was starting to kind of happen in certain circles, but it was like primitive as fuck.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it wasn't until what, Joe Rogan fucking
pretty much
broke it out. Yeah.
And he started in 08, so. But what's interesting about that, what you just said, is something that I was actually tapping on last night on another podcast, is that it's so interesting how the culture around choppers breeds so much art. Like you said, the photographers, the painters, writers, just creatives in natural.
Yes.
It's something about that bike that speaks or inspires, you know, that type of human, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why every badass show is at the heart of it is choppers and music and art. And it's like better than walking around and seeing a bunch of fucking, you know, generic leather makers and generic LED people and shit like that, you know?
Well, let me tell you something. When you are in a scene or a group of people and you have to build your own bike to ride and be part of it, it weeds out fucking 90% of the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a different level, and you know, it's along with the idea, you know, you want to ride your own thing, man. You want, you know what I'm saying? You want it to be customized for you.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to look like anybody else's, but yet you want to tip your hat for the influences that do influence you. And it's just the very nature of it, you know, it just building a bike and riding it, and you know, and it goes to the point where, I mean, when clubs were originally formed in the 50s and 60s, they were all chopper clubs. Like, you had to have a customized bike to be part of it. And if you weren't probably in those circles and you're just some random dude, they didn't have a fucking Facebook marketplace to go pick one up. You know, you had to be in it. You had to know someone. The shit was unobtainable at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to get hip to what was going on, maybe find a way to get into those circles and
not get burnt, and then, you know, get a good deal and all kinds of shit, man.
You know, this is a common thread. I've heard you talk about it on other episodes and stuff, and it's something that we say a lot. Is it like, if things are like, if you can just go finance a new motorcycle, like the one thing you can't finance is the culture that's going to keep you on motorcycles, right? You can't just buy that, and so many people do, because in our day and age, we have less time because we're out there trying to make enough money to sustain, you know, just living. So that naturally creates more income, but we still have less time. So we want to just, man, if I could just buy this bike, it might get me in that circle, right? If I could just do this, but if you got in that circle, you
can't buy your way in. You couldn't buy your way into this culture at one point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can sit at the bar, spend $100, look at your phone, and maybe you're riding a knucklehead in a week. You know what I mean? And people are fine with that. You know, we're kind of used to like working on our shit all winter and making sure everyone's shit's right, because when we go roll together, we don't want fucking dude buttoning his bike up at the last minute, you know, and us like taking us 3 more days to get there for, you know, it's just, it's just a different kind of motorcycling experience. Really, it's like the full fucking experience, and you know, like there's a lot of minimalism involved too, and you want to be able to travel 1,000 miles and with no shit if possible, nothing. You know, it's clothes on your back.
Yeah,
like you should be cool with that.
Yeah,
you know, you should be looking forward to that. You know what I'm saying? And the feeling that you get from like, I'm doing this like for damn near next to free, man. You know what I'm saying? And in the wind, you know what I'm saying? Not like worrying about, you know, if I'm gonna wreck this motherfucker and like my payments are fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, a good point that you just made about like the clothing. It's like you're also taking away some decisions, so you can a lot more of your mind to the experience and being present in that shit instead of thinking like, oh man, I wonder if I should throw those other pair of shoes on I brought, or you know, just
you get a pair of shoes. They're gonna last you the rest of your life. You better have a pair of shoes that you're ready to die in, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And find those shoes. Get those. You don't got to get all the other shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a matter of like just dialing it in, you know, for yourself and for the experience. But it's, I mean, you know, the minimum. Like I was listening to somebody, but just the like. I mean, you can hear your bike. You know exactly how it's going to act. You know what I'm saying? You know what different grooves on the asphalt sound like with your tires. It's just like jockey shifting, foot clutch. Like you're literally like one with the road, the machine, and the human, and it's just like buzzing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're also using damn near every arm and leg to make this thing go from this next stage to the other. You know what I'm saying?
Which ties it into people that play drums, people that play guitars. I mean, it is something that requires all four limbs to do, and I think that too is like there's something in that. Yeah, you know what I mean? All right, we got If you hear any gunshots, just duck.
Now, well, you know. To take a step back, you know, one of the things I know about you is that at a very young age, you traveled a lot. Like you almost, I mean, very crazy wanderlust at an early age. What inspired you to do that? You know, like to just, we were like 17 or something, 16 or something like that?
I had parents that like, you know, when I was born, I lived on a commune with them for a few years and, you know, traveled on the road. And, traveled with my parents, and you know, I don't remember much of that, but it made a huge impression on me. You know what I'm saying? And we traveled around as a family, and I went to, you know, different schools and different states and this and that. So I kind of learned at an early age like how you can like network and how I'd have a couple friends from this school or that city and this, you know what I'm saying? And I just kind of put that together. Another funny thing is my best friend I grew up with, his uncle was in this fucking band called Poison, right? Okay, so in the late 80s, that was on MTV every day. You know, I wasn't into the band, but being able to hang out with Motley Crue, David Lee Roth backstage after the show twice a summer with my buddy, you know what I mean? Hanging out was just eye-opening. Yeah. So, like, and at that time, MTV was selling this dream where like you're gonna play guitar, you're gonna blow into LA like a fucking tumbleweed, with the clothes on your back, you're gonna find a band, and your $1 million check is waiting for you right over that building. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And they were like I don't know how the fuck that happened. Like I don't know who made up that whole like pay to play, like that idea of success, but it's not like that at all. Period. Even though I felt like I was seeing it when it was at its peak, maybe it was like that. You know? Yeah.
Well, I think it makes you cultured. Like you just start seeing so many different perspectives of life and so many other ways of life that it kind of it allows you, like you said a while ago, you kind of adapt to all these different scenarios, and you can kind of. I know the word fit in is not the best way to look, but it's, you know, like
you tie together the common threads, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, you'll notice it'll be the same type of thing you like in each group or different groups. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll notice you got friends in this city, friends in this city. when all three of you get together in a different city, you look around, you're like, damn, we got the same shit on. Like, we're like, you listen to the same music in the car. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of get in a groove like that. And, you know, I was born in 82. So, you know, my, I guess, formidable years of like being a kid was like maybe mid to late 90s for the most part, which, you know, I was not around so many different things. I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
My dad was a club guy. We were doing field parties. You know, I remember the first Tit of Titties I saw was Easy Rider magazine. You know, there was all that shit going on back when I was younger. But also in that, growing up, I saw the lifestyle. Like,
yeah, man.
We lived in houses that, you know, that was like kind of like communes, like you said, or like a. Like there was a 3 house.
Dude, the biker scene had the earliest and most productive do-it-yourself fucking community, and still do to this day. There's probably not another fucking society left in America that is still operating.
Yeah,
you know, as a different subculture and with functional fucking people involved in it. Yeah. And you know what I mean, and people able to make a living off of it too. You know, so yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, that's that, you know, like my situation with them. And I actually said this on the Matt Jackson podcast. It's like growing up and seeing it, because I had, you know, mom's side of the family, dad's side of the family. Dad's side of the family was rich. Mom was, you know.
No, same with me. My mom's side of the family was, you know, affluent. My dad's, I mean, I come from like I like to tell my wife, I'm an amateur stock car driver, legacy guy, right? They've been racing. My family was raising chickens and racing race cars since the 40s.
Damn.
You know, and I just got all the picks, and so it's in my blood. And I grew up, they raced micro midgets, sprint cars, go-karts. So they were building motors, you know, at least 2 nights a week at my grandpa's, and I was there hanging out watching for all my childhood, you know. Yeah. But I wasn't into racing, man. You know, NASCAR didn't, that's not what I was trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And so I got into like skateboarding and fucking BMX, shit like that, and these type of activities were, I mean, you had teams and stuff, which is cool about racing. I like the team part of it, but it's like it was like an activity where like it was like the earliest, like, you know, you get your badass T-shirt on, you got your rat tail or whatever you got going, your BMX bike with your favorite stickers, and, you know, I mean, it's like the earliest form of this motorcycle thing. Really, that moment. You know, where
you could add your own flavor and style to your board or to your bike, right?
Yes.
And that kind of is inherently, I think, what makes you like us.
And you put the parts on them, the aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
You didn't ride a stock Predator, you know, or a Redline. You know, you got the fucking all the stuff, man. The Oakley 3s and the fucking you know CW bars and flight cranks and Skyway tough wheels. Like, I mean, dude, me and my dad were fucking into it, dude. And my dad, like, literally. We built BMX bikes together. We built skateboards together. I knew how to wrench like this, as you know, use a toolbox as long as I can remember. You know what I mean?
I'm not really close to my dad at all, but you know, his side of the family instilled a lot of shit into me by happenstance, like that I do appreciate. You know what I'm saying? I really do, but they made it hard to obtain. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, my father just passed.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
And, you know, I'm at that stage where I'm starting to, like, really think about that shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, all I can say is, like, they're going to, you know, it's going to be good, it's going to be bad, but if it's all love in the end, then you better fucking embrace it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy one, man. Like, I was always closer to my mom's side of the family, and that's, you know, after the wild 80s of, you know, my mom and, you know, cocaine and every other drug on the. I mean, that's kind of what.
I was on the streets in probably 88, 89. So I went through the 90s. We lived in the hood. All of our houses, we sold drugs. Guess what? You know, they don't call the cops here, just where we're moving to. And I did that immediately. I literally moved from the woods to fucking 1990 down south, fucking full crack epidemic, Uzi fire. You know, where when I first laid eyes on where I was living, the first thing I thought was like, I better learn how to run pretty fucking fast, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you know, it kind of like pushed me away from you know, this part of the culture, because on the outside looking in, it just didn't look, you know,
appealing.
Appealing, or it looked uncivilized, right?
I get it.
But you know, and then on my dad's side of the family, it's much more of a corporate world, and you see these guys in suits and, you know, kind of society, and I'm like, that seems like more safe, you know. And it's only that I mean, obviously, I haven't never worn a suit in my life, but you go down this path and you start to. Now I remember these little key moments of my childhood. I'm like, oh yeah, that dude used to travel and then come through.
Impression on you, yes. I remember my dad's friend that had sleeves like in '83. He was a merchant marine dude. He had a T-bucket hot rod. When you know, he's always working, but when he came around, he'd work on the pit crew with the car and all tatted up. He'd be the guy to go beat someone up at the end of the race and shit. I mean. You know, I mean, I was super lucky to be like exposed to characters like that growing up. Yeah. And you know, my dad was a marine biologist, right? And he rode the edge. All right, he rode the edge. He ended up having kids, and he decided to be as good on the father side of things and stop that. But the people we'd have stopping by and hanging out, like his friends, were fucking characters.
Yeah,
and they instilled a sense of me of like. I wasn't scared of much, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't make anything out. You know, they're like, you want to go? Like my dad, he didn't say, oh, you can't fucking start hitchhiking to California from fucking Delaware. Yeah. You know, he said, oh, have you read this? It's On the Road by Jack Kerouac. You know what I'm saying? And I read it, and later it was like a little road map. Have you read that book?
No.
It's like 1950s. The first part of counterculture beatnik stuff. The guy that the dude wrote about was the driver of the Merry Prankster bus. So it's like the earliest history of like fucking our kind of cats just breezing through town on the road with like nothing though. You know, they would steal cars and go to other cities and stuff, but you know, it's a great book. And in that book, like there was just this part where, you know, he was like, he reached like the ocean and didn't have like, you know, just with nothing, but yet it was like so profound that like he had made it there with, you know, like that, you know, and survived, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, most people don't want them at all. And like, I'm telling you, I was in it for the sport too, you know, I'm just into it, you know, it's not, it sucked a lot of it, but you know, the experiences you learn, like you make enough mistakes, you kind of start to figure out what not to repeat. You know what I'm saying? But you know, not at the expense of the experience. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's why I was wondering about that situation, because a lot of, you know, my thing was, and a lot of people that I know, it was like, you know, and you could say in other cultures or other kind of ways that would be backpacking. Some kid going to Europe or Asia or South America. I mean, you just kind of like took on the Americana fucking like highways and hitchhiked and moved from city to city and became. I would imagine your network just got insanely big, you know?
Yeah. I was going from drug spot to drug spot.
Yeah.
That was the first part of it, you know what I'm saying? I was also lucky enough to catch the end of the Grateful Dead tours. So I caught the last 3 years of that. And the very last year I was able to go on the road for like a month or so. And like because they didn't come through Texas. I was living in San Marcos at the time.
Oh, for real?
But they didn't fuck with Texas, but they do Oklahoma. A bunch of people drove up there and went all the way out to the West Coast. But that too was seeing, and dude, these people had full-on school buses with like VW buses and bugs welded to the top, right? Completely painted psychedelic. You know, there's probably a dozen of them at least. And like going across the country.
Yeah, what were they called? It was Deadheads, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, but it's like, I like Grateful Dead, but that's not why I was there, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was there because I was like, look at these motherfuckers. I was like, oh, where are you guys going next? Holy shit. Like, you ain't not even wearing a shirt ever. You haven't had a shirt for 3 years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? These are like these kind of people, and you're just like, God damn. And I mean, there was even a motorcycle club that followed the Grateful Dead called the Grateful Dead Motorcycle Club. And they were like, I think, New York up north, that I think possibly, I'm pretty sure some of them patched over to, you know, whatever side's over there, you know? So it's like, it's got the road history, dude, just like, And then, I mean, you can't drive across the country like that with a bus full of acid these days. You know what I'm saying? But back then, no one knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
The squares had no clue. They knew they're on dope, but they didn't know what it looked like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're like, whatever.
Yeah. And back then, I feel like it was like there was no social media to snitch on. There was no photos of this looks like or that. It was like so much more of like a fucking unspoken word and word of mouth and, like shit. Even back then, some band would come through town, but, you'd be hearing some fucking stories about the members and that would, but you wouldn't hear them unless you're like tuned into, the music and shit.
Your time there. Yeah. That's the thing about everything, man. Like, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the deep like cuts of music, trying to find records that you're only going to find by this. Then, and when Spotify comes along, then all of a sudden now you can Google it and fucking binge it for a week and then be over it, versus.
Well, go out and at least buy an album off of them. You know what I'm saying? Buy a shirt, go to their show, do what you can to support that shit. Because, obviously Spotify's not they're paying them 13 cents a year or something. And, and I think it works like for podcasts. I think Spotify is great. It feels like early Instagram days on Spotify where you could potentially make a living without having to pay for ads and get fucking taxed. You know what I'm saying? And that's how like when Instagram first came out was like that. And I feel like that so many people were using it for that reason. That's why they, shut it down pretty much. You know?
Dude. I talk about that so much on this podcast. I know people are probably sick of listening, but man, Instagram was so perfect as far as like giving people a chance to show the world certain things. And I think I wonder about this from perspectives like maybe from you, having so much history with just this area, the club, just the different culture, this whole counterculture of motorcycling. There's this thing of wanting to carry it on, but there's also this thing of not wanting to blow it out. And how do you find the fucking fine line between it,
Well, that's like really funny you say that because that's the exact crossroads I'm at this very moment. And, obviously the 2020 fucked the event schedule up for everyone. I feel like the industry is definitely rolling again. Most successful Mama Tried I've seen probably since 2018 or 19. It's really difficult, man. It really is. And, I let for example, I do Full Tilt Boogie and I've been doing that show for about 15 years. And, it's like people that go there have been going there for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm able to get people from out of town there and stuff, but it's not like Mama Tried. It's the same bikes and people as Mama Tried, but it's not the scale of
it's
how big it is. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to put my, we have another show that's at the Excel Center, which is the same footprint size as the Rave. You know what I'm saying? And so we have those shows. You know what I mean? And like, just for example, I had Law Tigers sponsor my show now, right? I didn't just talk to Law Tigers. I talked to a local cat here that's been in my shit for 10 years and coming to the show that just started working for Law Tigers. Like, hey, we want to help, we want to sponsor your stuff. And like, I have, that helps. Like,
for sure.
I need those connections with people. If I can't deal with a faceless corporation that's not going to answer my messages on Instagram, but they're going to run all my shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's you just got to find out. Unfortunately, who's who and what's what. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you ever fear like some of this stuff like will actually die? Like as far as just the way of life or anything like that?
Of course, 100%. I feel like we might be at the very tail end of being able to ride these fucking bikes around and do our thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think with just all the online stuff, and we're building we're building cases on ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like just. I think that the new generation's like so tamed down that like they have no fucking clue, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling someone the other day that when I was a kid, I could tell you what time it was within 2 or 3 minutes, and there wouldn't be a watch or a clock or anything anywhere. You dig what I'm saying? We're just tuned the fuck in. We see the light. You dig what I mean? And I feel like everything outside of outside of that is like you're not even seeing it the same, dude. Like these things are frying our fucking eyes,
They really are. It's crazy how, like I said, in one breath while ago, I said how great Instagram was for me and inspiring me and just exposing cultures that I didn't really know. I didn't, the initial C of that culture the visuals that I got was not doing it for me, but that angle did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you got all of us that like at one point wanted to make a record. Who knows how the fuck we were going to pull that off? Or you wanted like, I want my own pro skateboard or I want my own thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of that urge, you know what I'm saying? And I think like you're saying, is the culture going to potentially die? Well, I think the colors we see and how we see things has died.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like, what probably takes you like a week in the woods to fucking really open up and see. You know what I'm saying? And that's a zone, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's an experience. And if that perspective is gone, then other perspectives are going to follow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
yeah. The social shit, man, is like. I think it's like, Instagram has become a mall, a shopping mall. It's like everything is for sale. Everybody's got something for sale. And in one breath, I want those people to be able to make that money. But you're rewarded for something to be for sale because if they do click and go to that website, then that puts you higher up and whatnot. But when you try to put out culture, you try to put out something you're passionate about, like a picture, like a memory, and like I think Jeff Wright's been doing it lately, and a lot of people have been doing this like 10 years ago posts. And it's like that for me, like I want to see shit like that because that actually brings me value of understanding what was like in your area.
Do we want to fight it out on that platform? Do we want to be beholden to that fucking to likes and to this? Yeah. I want to sell shit. Yeah, I want someone to buy something, but I think it's my momentum, man, that has made that happen. It's not, in timing. It's not like that. And the only reason I touch on it is because everyone in the industry has been affected by it, but rarely people want to recognize it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I think it's in real life, I think was getting ready to happen in 2018, 2019, where it was like enough people had seen all the shit on here, then they're getting ready to hit the road and go find it. You know what I mean? And I think but like, for example, On the Roam is basically 2018 Instagram or Show Class magazine, as far as the people in it, and what was hot and in our crowd, and so in a way, it's like, I feel like it has, it's bled out into other areas that these are people that are not part of the community or never have been.
I've been telling everybody to watch that show because I feel like whether or not it's a perfect representation to certain people in their version of the culture that's being kind of shown through it or not, I associate it to like kind of what happened when Jesse James was putting on Monster Garage and those things back in the day. It's showing people in all this technology and great cinematography and photography that we have today, showing people cool, like grassroots things that people do with their hands, their minds, their fucking all this in a way that looks good.
Yeah, as far as the makers go, he killed it. It's like Forged by Fire or whatever. As far as the makers go, I think he did a good job. You know what I'm saying? And I think the whole thing's good. And then you know what? I wish that we would get fucking 20,000 Instagram followers out of it, but I didn't see anyone's Instagram handles on there, and I'm pretty sure no one's pages have jumped. And the name of the game, bro, is they're there for a reason, and it ain't their reason. Yeah. You're on someone else's show. You know what I'm saying? And I hope these people get credited and compensated and their careers fucking blow the fuck up. Some of my fucking best friends are on that show. Yeah. My shirts are on that show. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking rad.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay for shit, And it's the only other logo I've seen on there besides Harley Davidson. But what does that mean? I'm just good at fucking getting it in there like that. You know what I'm saying? That's all it means. You know what I mean? But, it gets tiring shooting high all the time, man, because it goes over people's fucking heads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really do hope people like just take a chance to watch that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, bike riders too, man. I mean, that would be fucking But you know what? I don't know, bro.
You think?
This is unattainable shit, man. You can't get any of those bikes. You can't with with West Coast choppers and Jesse James, you got in your motherfucking garage and make that shit happen, dude.
Yeah.
At least try your best, right? Yeah. And just collection, you know what I'm saying? Stuff. And,
yeah, I mean, obviously when Bike Riders comes out, there's going to be a definitely big push towards, and I feel like On the Roam is probably going to do it too as it kind of starts being seen more. You're going to have a lot more push for people coming in wanting panheads, you know, knuckleheads and all this stuff. And
they're not available though. That's
not.
the problem.
Yeah.
They're not around. Like if you get an Evo Sporty chopper together, you're gonna be stoked enough. That's how these new kids are. I'm like, when do you get a shovel? Never. You know, I'm like, what? Like we wanted to go.
Yeah.
You know, that was our thing. Iron head, shovel head, pan head. You know what I mean? And these like some of the newer people are just more. They'll get the Evo Chopper and go for 2 weeks on the road, and they'll get the full fucking experience and walk away from it even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how accessible the shit is. And, you know, those would be more just passing through hipster types, but, you know, the groundwork's been laid out for, you know, what it is. You know what I mean? The essence of it.
So there was a podcast I did with my buddy Oliver, and he kind of, because we talked about this, and he had an opinion or an idea that I kind of could see it. It's like the Evo Chopper is kind of also the fact that maybe the younger generation, that might have been what my dad was riding as an Evo Chopper or an Evo in general.
Yeah.
And so as we go down the gambit of further down the line, that becomes a twin cam, that becomes these other ones. And also those other ones become more unobtainable. I mean, obviously you get a cone shovel.
You gotta, dude, there's families, generations of Olsons.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons like that AMCA, like that you don't even know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Shit's behind closed doors. That's all, you know. If you have a certain year knucklehead, I'm pretty sure like you register it. There's like 8 of them and like 30, whatever. I forgot what it was, but like they know where that bike is. You dig what I'm saying? Like these bikes are so rare and unobtainable. Like, you know, they like, you know, really like it's, you've been to Davenport, Iowa?
Yeah, I want to go to that swap. I've heard about it. And obviously I'm getting into that kind of world and
it will blow your fucking mind. Okay, if you go to one swap meet, go to that swap meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, in the early, like, was it the early 2000s that you kind of started making the getting into this motorcycle thing?
Yeah, we, you know, like everyone else, the West Coast Chopper thing, the Monster Garage thing was kind of like, you know, set it off. But, you know, as we're watching this, the dude that we gravitated towards was Indian Larry. You know what I'm saying? And so we were like, that's the kind of shit we want. And we knew Indian Larry from the horse. Okay, we were already fucking looking at Voodoo Child and watching the build in the magazine, and like, you know, we knew Indian Larry's backstory, bank robber, you know what I'm saying, fucking explosives expert. You know what I mean? I lived fucking 4 hours from where he lived, New York. You know, I'm in Virginia. I heard of him from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just word of mouth.
When the internet wasn't around.
Just word of mouth, man. Yeah, just like. So, like, when he got on there, that was the shit. And then I will give full credit to the one person, and it was the last episode. Chopper Dave made the run with, I think it was Indian Larry, Jesse James, and maybe Roland Sands and him, one of those. But Chopper Dave was riding his panhead, the super freak. His rear tire was this fucking wide. You know what I mean? And next to all those other bigger tire bikes, it looked like the sketchiest fucking thing I've ever seen. We were just like, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And that was 60s style, like era correct choppers.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, that's I remember that. I remember that, all that stuff, you know, and I didn't really have eyes for it.
And then it went blink. It was over. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point here in Minnesota, I could go to the mall and probably buy 50 different bootleg West Coast Chopper shirts at every other store in the fucking mall. Like I can't even believe how much shit was probably sold from that. But I feel like that and Orange County Chopper thing, it just got burnt, got stupid, and it was kind of a blackout for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it felt like the culture was like the vintage was actually permeating underneath.
That was happening, okay?
Yeah.
And this was like blogs got it started. And, you know, just to find a blog address, like that's word of mouth too, pretty much. I mean, you know, and we'd link it, maybe we'd link it to Facebook or something like that. But so we had blogs, and, you know, then that immediately networked you with the whole fucking world, okay? On my blog, you can go to a page where it shows like the analytics, And I was like having people in Russia and China reading I'm like, I don't know who these people are, like across the world, bro. You know what I mean? I met a dude who owns a major clothing company, and he ended up meeting me through seeing a button with my blog address on the bottom of it in Japan.
Wow.
All right. And I get an email. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how we were using this network. You had a bunch of people that used to hang flyers up on the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh, now we can network even better. And it exploded in that sense, you know?
Well, yeah, from what I've started to understand by going down these rabbit holes is how the blog started to connect these different scenes that were already kind of, they found their way to the vibe and the thing on their own.
Yes.
But the blogs.
None of us knew the other existed, okay? And every city had a crew, had a thing, and then we all started going to other cities. Like the first thing, we had our thing going here. There's probably like 8 of us. We're all building bikes. You know, we had already, you know, we're pretty good at this point. You know what I'm saying? S&S 50th in La Crosse. Rode there in a pack with our shovelheads, panheads, knucks. Met up with Chicago, Bravetown boys. Met up with Junior from Milwaukee. We never seen any of these people. You know, Kevin Bass. You know, it's like all the people that are still around, like the OGs. You know, that's where we met them, was at the S&S 50th. And then our buddy that was with us, Dave Polgreen, built the panhead that won the whole fucking thing that Jesse James picked the winner. Yeah. And the winner got an S&S motor, right? So my buddy Dave, like, won the motor. And, you know, that immediately we were just kind of hooked right away. We were like, damn, we're making some headway, like, super quick. You know what I'm saying? This is the first thing. Our boy fucking took it, you know, like we were getting good positive feedback just from the whole thing, and you know.
Yeah, but you felt like you were growing too, so that kind of got the stoke was going on everybody because you feel like maybe.
No, it was a universal mind.
Yeah,
it was 100%. Like everyone was on the same page for years, man. Like,
that's cool.
Brilliant, and I'm talking like the same page, like, you know, like Reese from Michigan. That dude showed up here back then on a fucking shovelhead soaked to the bone with nothing but a helmet on, you know, because he had helmet laws to come through. And I'm talking like, and hung out for, you know, we had people just coming in town, like, oh, I don't need anywhere to sleep. And I'm like face first in the dirt, like straight up. Like, I mean, you know, it was like everyone was trying to do it harder than everyone else in a sense. But, you know, some of these people were, like myself, were already travelers that knew how to like urban camp or whatever, and weren't scared. You know, some people rode the railroads, like train hopper dudes. A lot of people out of the Northwest you know, they rode the rails, then they got a bike. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so you really had a very like really diverse like underground culture of group of people meeting up, and it was kind of a perfect storm because everyone did something. And like when you put it all together, like everything got done. You know what I mean? For everybody. Yeah. You know, because no one was, dude, you saw a part up there you liked for your bike and it would look cool in there. Guess what? You can have this. That was class. You know what I mean? It's not like that's $350, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, on that same note, and just to play a little devil's advocate, like the hardness about deciding whether or not you're a business, you know, or deciding whether or not that
I've struggled with it for years. And guess what? Yeah. Are you talking about personally or?
Well, I guess it's an easy line you can draw between. All right, I don't really know that dude, so it's $350. That dude I know.
But it's kind of at the point now where even between friends, it's $350. Bro. You know, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we gave it away freely to people that earned it and came and showed up. We're helping you out, motherfucker. You made it here 500 miles on that thing. Your chain's broken. Come on in. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, we like embrace when we recognized what we were doing in others, we embraced it. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing with us. Like, well, I try to keep, you know, it took a while to train the wife, but, you know, basically our couch, we have a spare bedroom that kind of stays open for people that we've got a relationship with or that don't look super weird on Instagram. You know, it's like, hey, you're coming through and it's, you know, we're in town, come through, we got a spot. And, you know, if you hear early enough.
That's been going on forever. Okay. When it comes to the band, I've been doing that. I've been having 6 members of a band and the Sprinter parked out front at my house many times. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing. As long as they don't look too fucking weird, I'm not going to try to fuck my wife. You can stay at my house, right? You know what I'm saying? But Same deal. And it's like, you're part, that makes you part of it. You're a stop in that area, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that dude can go to your couch, wake up the next day, get on his bike, and do all the stuff that you're a part of and your friends are a part of. He can go enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, because he made it there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And when you start traveling on a motorcycle, I mean, those things become so helpful because
dude,
you want to go do a long time on the road. You want to do a month. Like, you ain't getting a hotel room every night. And not every spot's going to be perfect to camp. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just want to be around people, man. You want to socialize a little bit. You know, and like I said, I'm pretty fortunate. And sometimes traveling alone, I'm awarded more of those opportunities because I'm not going to be like, Zach, I'm coming through, me and 5 dudes. You never met the other dudes, right? Like, that's different, right? So I don't put people in that kind of situation. But, you know, like these kind of things used to just, like, they came to me naturally because of traveling. And then I've had dudes, I was on a road trip. I had a dude said, hey.
It's the rule. It's the law and rules of the road, bro. You know, you lend a hand. You know what I mean?
Dude said the key's under the mat. You and your old lady just go ahead and make yourselves at home. Just put the key back on it when you leave tomorrow. I'm like.
That's a gesture.
Gave us our whole fucking house. Gesture. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, you know, when you realize people are out there like that, it starts to like, it sets in your mind and you start remembering shit like that. And then you almost got to train yourself to become that way, or like to everybody, you know, or to try to start, how do I put this out there? Because there's a lot of people I don't want to stay in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I do know.
I have best friends that I'm like, fuck you, you're not staying in my house, motherfucker. You know, like they know this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what's nice about just having a spot. You know what I'm saying? Is like, you know, you can, the weirdest motherfucker ever can come through here and fucking hang out. But, you know, it's just, just being, it's just the very act of it, dude, of like helping someone out on the road and sharing a vision and like knowing and agreeing on that before you even talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And, it's, I think it's been going on forever. You know what I mean? Like, look at hobos, dude. Those were migrant workers that just worked the road, and like people like got around, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like people get around as much as they do. There's like, how many people, like, can you imagine like you've never left the state?
Yeah.
I know people like that. That like never left Minnesota. Like, maybe we'll go to Wisconsin someday. And I'm just like, cool. Like, you've lived here. Like, you know what I mean? You know, not everyone has wanderlust. Not everyone feels like they fucking got to see everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you know, that
I do.
I do too. I do too. I went when I like my last breath, dude, and I can confidently say this now after a near-death experience 4 years ago that like I know what it is. I know the thoughts that go through your head. I know what matters and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And I was at ease with it, dude. And you know, at a certain point, like, you know, it's I just think it's just a weird trip, man, and you know, an acceptance, but also just not being afraid to experience and seek it out and see it, you know? Because, I mean, it's like, what you're looking for is magic, bro. You know what I'm saying? It really is. And it's meeting all these people is just like, it's like a network, yes, but it's also a good creative space for everyone to communicate around the country too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like when you get around other creative people, it helps you kind of get out of maybe ruts of your own creativity. And so like I find myself like I have a great home base, a lot of good homies, a lot of good stuff. But when we go to bike night, our bike nights tend to be, you know, bitching about the here and now. Like politics, what's going on here, old lady at home's being a bitch or something like this. You rarely get into these conversations of like, man, I want to make this thing. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, you know? And so I'm trying to put those sparks on the table. Like, man, you'd be good at making videos, dude. You should really think about doing some shit like that.
I know exactly what you're saying, because the funniest thing is that's how I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I came from a path of fucking destruction, bro. You know what I'm saying? Before I was able to like make anything that didn't catch on fire, you know, it's like, and just the love of the culture and the bike and the people, man. When you've been around this 20 years, the fucking people that are still here, dude, are the gold, dude. Like, Mama tried this weekend, like walking away from that. I mean, at the biggest, like, just seeing people you might only see them once a year, but like they'll say something to you where you know that they're invested in you as a person. And they ask cool questions or give you good advice or whatever. And it's like, that's fucking amazing, dude. And you you're not going to just get that sitting at home on your couch ever. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to put yourself in an uncomfortable, unpredictable situation and have faith and, you know, see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a funny thing because basically in the world of like in the custom motorcycle world, paint, whatever, it's like as soon as you as a person, as a brand, as whatever you're doing, start to get out of your hometown and you see people at these other events across the country, it's not like you go to one and it's done. It's like it's like a snowball at the top of the mountain. And as you keep going,
it's a momentum, 100%. And then you will learn how to keep the momentum going. All right. And then you need to learn how to manage the creative force of what you need to put behind the momentum. You know, because sometimes you might not have to go for it as hard as you're going for it. You know what I'm saying? Like this weekend, I sold out of a Jeffrey Dahmer shirt that took me 10 minutes to make, you know, just because it was Milwaukee, you know what I mean? And the shit that I paid someone $500 to do, like, didn't sell, and this thing sold. It's like, you know, something you just never know. You know what I mean?
Like of somebody traveling all over the country like you were, like, how'd you land here? How did this become home base?
They had a rehab up here I got sent to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just fell in love with it?
This is the Siberia for drug addicts, basically, Minnesota. Okay. You got the Mayo Clinic here. You got Hazelden, which all is a Betty Ford Clinic rehab. We've got Betty Ford Clinic in St. Paul. All right. So this is like super high-end rehab. When I went to rehab, I was in rehab with fucking David Blaine, the musician. I can't really say who I was in with. But anyway, there was all kinds of Hollywood types in the rehab that you saw on TV, and then you see them there, and then you're reading the news what the problem is, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on? You know? And I got sent to this one, and, you know, you can get into it for free too, but it's, you know, I'd made my traveling, and, you know, I got my first Harley, I think at 25, you know, so I was going for it. And then it's just like, you know, the drugs took over the 90s, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to make a break for it. You know what I mean?
Well, this place seems to, you know, like I was saying before we started kicking off the podcast about how much this like Midwest, like the bike culture seems, it's not on Front Street the way California's is, right? But the more you start, you know, picking up magazines and digging through boxes, you start finding so much history, man.
Look, man.
So much culture, so many cool bikes, so many rad stories, and so many ties. Like the nodes, like there's this Midwest tie to this East Coast and this West Coast, and it all kind of comes through here in one way.
Minnesota has the most registered custom motorcycles behind California.
Damn.
Yeah. We got Donnie Smith here. He's a hamster. California's got Arlen Ness. He's a hamster. Dave Perowitz will be at the show next. We got all those cats, okay? That, like, those dudes have been holding it down for fucking years, you know what I mean? And we're linked into that here and always have been. And I can't say enough about Donnie Smith's, like, digger and the bikes that he built. The detail and stuff, like, if you look at the older ones to this day, is not even matched. Like, it's when anodizing wasn't everything. All the finishes were a lot cheaper back then, I think, to get done. But he would do so many finishes on one bike that mind blowing. And I just landed in the right spot. Like I already had a Harley, I lost it. You know what I'm saying? I had this fucking 6 foot long like Evo Chopper I rode around, and you know, and I was the only guy my age doing it, and everyone else was probably 20 years older than me.
Okay.
Yep. And they were probably clubbed up or at one point or this and that. And like that was, you know, I was going to swap meets back then and buying fucking shit for $5 a piece. And no one cared about chopper shit. They get that shit out of here. You know what I mean? And like basically Iron Horse magazine came out, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what got it started, you know?
Yeah. Iron Horse.
That was our monthly Bible for custom bike building.
How long did Iron Horse like kick like
the Horse?
Well, Horse has been around for a long time.
It's the same magazine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The Horse has been through different editors. Okay. When the Horse was run by David Snow, who's still around, it was fucking insane. That was the Indian Larry, Spritz by Fritz. That was like that whole era. You know, lots of East Coast Chicago stuff. No California shit at all. But then one issue they ran Jesse fucking James. Or not Jesse James, Jason Jesse.
Jason Jesse.
Right. Yeah. And then the next issue they ran like a tattoo shop where all these dudes my age had choppers too, right? So I'm like, in Virginia, kind of doing this by myself, but I picked up a magazine and I see dudes in California I knew from skateboarding starting to do this.
Oh.
I immediately knew right then and there, seeing one person do it, what was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Jason Jesse's definitely was on the fucking forefront edge of this entire movement. You know, he hasn't been as active as of late or whatever, you know, but as far as the initial, you know, transition or pivot or just the fucking fearlessness, that was him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, he's, like I said, I've been doing, I guess
we respected his skateboarding, so you can only imagine what we thought of him riding a chopper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these, I feel like a lot of this side of the culture kind of funnels into him, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's skateboarding, dude.
Yeah.
And it's the skateboard. I mean, in the 80s skateboarding, we didn't have a street to skate on. We had a gravel road, dig what I'm saying? And we had no skate parks. We would build our own fucking ramps, right? We would figure out how to build half pipes and we'd build them. And we'd either steal all the wood or buy some of it, and we'd build these giant ramps. So not only were we building our skateboards, we're building the terrain to our taste that we're riding on.
Okay.
And I don't know, when you combine the two together, what fucking happens. I guess, you know, you can get in the air 10 feet, but that's some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's all the ingredients, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know what the ingredients are to get rad from that. You know what I'm saying? It's like we were saying, it's like, you know, this is you know, I'm usually on Danger Dan's or Big Truths and stuff, but, you know, I've listened to your podcast and I've followed the Fast Life cruise trips and, you know, you guys talking about it and stuff. And, you know, I was like, these dudes are doing it right, man. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing it. I know they're a little new to it, but I haven't seen another group of people do what you guys are doing. I haven't seen a group of chopper people get on the road in fucking 10 years, I think. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
man, just to touch on that, man, it's just addicting. You know?
Yeah.
It really
you had to get out there and experience what run, like dude, when we first had our crew, the heavy crew, we had a shop. There was probably 10 of us. We had one mandatory run we had to do to Davenport, maybe 1,000-mile weekend.
Yeah.
You know, it was only one, but if you didn't fucking go, you're out of the shop.
Yeah.
So we immediately were like, you know, let's do this shit, you know? And like, I've done the bike night up here for, I don't know, fucking 10 years probably. And, you know, I saw you post the other day. It's like, hey, man, if you're like able-bodied and sitting at home on the couch, man, just fucking show up tonight. You know what I mean? Like, get out there, man. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know. You got to have a community at home is what's really important. Yeah. To be able to, like, there's a lot of people that have all this stuff online and in different areas that shows are at, but it really comes down to local community. Like, are your peers allowing you to operate in your town? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, when you go out and you experience something and you're honest with that experience and you like it,
you want to share it.
You bring it home.
Yes,
and then you let that funnel to you, and you kind of inspire the other people around you to kind of get this.
Yeah, you put your spin on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then when I say your spin on it, I mean, like, you know, not copy it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but what got you stoked?
Yeah.
You recognize that.
So on a great tangent, if you will. So as I'm learning more and more, and I'm inspired to do things that are not in my wheelhouse, but I'm trying to learn how to do them. You have to soak up all this information. So what it is, in my opinion, whether it's paint, building bikes, or making, you know, tangible items, you have to think of it as fusion, right? There's not really anything that hasn't been done, but there's a lot of things that haven't been done together in certain ways. So if you take this and you put it together, that's the new thing.
You know, you got the ingredients, bro.
Yes.
You got the secrets.
Yeah.
All right. That's how you do it, you know. And if your vision's strong enough, then other people will fucking agree with it. You know what I'm saying? And especially if your vision is not for you, it's for a communal effort, and, you know, everyone, let's do this. That's a different, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, maybe, and this is a very naive statement or naive idea, but I feel like being interested in this culture, you know, and finding, you know, more people like yourself to talk to and extract some information and putting it out there in a way that's like palatable for a newer audience that I mean, because the thing is, you can't change the way people are now, right? People, you know,
you can't expect that. No.
a lot of the ways like you had to find the things in life, and I had to find certain things in life the same way. But there's a lot of shit I didn't find the way you did.
Yeah.
You know, and so how do you pallet it? I mean, how do you like sell it to that person? You know, because if you want everybody to do what you had to do, and that's not really how things exist
it's
anymore.
very hard, man. It really is. And like my whole brand, man, it's like I'll do stuff that I think is fucking rad and is going to elevate me to like maybe something outside of the motorcycle scene, but it never fucking works, man.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like people love me and the bike, you know what I'm saying? It's like as far as like heavy and what I produce, you know what I'm saying? And you got, you know, it's like you read your audience, but you know, I'm not greedy and I'm not selfish as far as, you know, I'll put a little more of myself into it than I need to just because I love it, man. You know what I mean?
Well, on that same note, it's like if you're making something to put out there, if you're only making what you know people want, then you're kind of doing them a disservice.
100%.
You know, because
you want to expose people to new stuff and ideas and feel that same excitement and spark of like, you know, something new. And I search for that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's gotten to the point where people are like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And guess what? Like you think you're going to see something on here that's going to fucking do that little spark and click. And you're going to see someone doing something and be like, oh, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's not there, man.
No,
you know what I mean? It ain't there. You got to get out there. Like it's not there.
And that's why me talking about this stuff and talking about this path that I'm kind of on this year on this podcast is that there's probably a lot of dudes that don't give a fuck about any of it, right? That listen to the podcast. Cool. Well, not every fucking episode is for every dude. But if there's a few guys or a few individuals on there that is in that same mindset of wanting something or to try something new, they don't want to give up on bikes and go find, you know, jet skis or fucking, you know, said other hobby. I want to go deeper into this path of motorcycling. Well, there's so many subcultures within it, you know, that like if you want to travel on bikes, like this world is about it. If you want to know, you know, some of these backstories to some of these people that have influenced people that you probably look up to, it's out there. I want to put on events and shows, right? And when I started looking back at old shows that were just like little pop-ups that guys have done over the years with like premises, I'm like, that's fucking a rad idea. Well, I know I got to copy that idea, but now I'm thinking broader than I was before because I'm thinking, okay, I want to do a bike event. Here's what I'm
just
thinking.
Where you guys rode to did that.
Yeah.
Okay. You like put your wheels on each four corners of America for nothing more than the experience of it. And that's what attracts me to your guys and your podcast is that you guys fucking did that, dude. That's like when the rubber, look, we could talk all this art creative shit all we want. When the rubber hits the fucking road, you can fucking die, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You're not going to do that playing the drums or driving a Sprinter. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This shit is deadly ass serious. And like, if you know that and respect that, then, you know, that's the best way to proceed.
Nice,
you know
nice, yeah. You know, it's really weird because I never like thought of it the way you've been saying it, but like the way you have heavy and then you had the chun and then you had, you know, said different groups,
Valley Boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I kind of got my fast life shit
you
going
do.
on.
And that's like you. I mean, yeah. And that's what resonated with me.
Man, I didn't even think about it like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you put the rubber to the road, man. And like, you know, like I said, when people get there like that, then, you know, the other people are going to extend themselves we're going to recognize it.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's not much of us left, dude. Obviously, if you guys, so we had probably like 10 crews doing this, and you know, it's like
I think it'll resurge.
I do too, man. I do too.
There's got to be just a normal wave and motion of all this shit where it's hot, then it's not. It's like,
but dude, like, do we want to be beholden to if it's hot or if it's like the people that decide or make it hot or not? Like, that's what's going to determine my fucking level of excitement and enjoyment.
Relevance.
No fucking way, dude.
Yeah.
And when you say like the thing between having a business and living the life, man, I'm a business. I do really well. I've done real well with this stuff. Like, you know, coming from where I'm coming from, and I love it. I love business practices. I love making ads. I love the whole creative capitalism aspect of doing something cool and be able to sell it and keep doing it. Like, I'm not hating on anyone's business, period, like any kind. And but the more I'm into it, the more I realize that I don't have to act like a fucking traditional business. Yeah. I don't have to be beholden to the same rules. I don't have to feel a certain kind of way because, you know, this thing is telling me that, you know, I'm not, we were just at the right time and place to build businesses on these platforms. But at the same time, you got to break the fuck away. And it's, you know, like Dan said, post and ghost, dude, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, look how he does it.
That's kind of where, I mean,
that's about where I'm at, you know?
We said it a while ago, you know, we were talking about photographers, remember? And you said a lot of the guys in it, like
dudes that have a real look had to bail because, you know, some fucking kid at fucking Ford Motor Company decides that they're going to use his aesthetic in their ad. It's very obvious when you see stolen shit like that. And Instagram basically has become a fucking stolen marketplace to bootleg shit. You know what I mean? It's like there's more of that going on than there is any real, like, some dude, like, creating something right in the fucking process. You're not seeing that anymore.
But it's back to what I was just saying a while ago about being inspired and then letting that flow through you and create something new. It's like, if you like that, the way Homeboy shoots a bike, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, trying.
There's only so many ways to shoot a bike, dude.
Yeah, but if you want to try to get that look, that's how you kind of pull it, right? But you have to be mindful enough to know that that's not your look. You need to get that, and then you need to get that one over there.
You don't want to get called out for being a fucking copycat or some shit. And like, and not only that, like, I mean, a lot of people just don't care, but I kind of have a set of morals that, like, I'm not trying to rip no one off. That would not make me feel good. It's not a good look. You know, it's just like, if I can't do my own thing, I'm not going to fuck with anybody else's thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's also an aspect of, like, integrity, right? Like the integrity that you have, and you know, when you're kind of young and naive, or just like it's all about money, or your intentions aren't right, like you'll do whatever you got to do to have whatever it is you want. But when you get to a point where you've absorbed, like myself, I've absorbed so much knowledge from people for the last 6 years on this podcast that, you know, yes, I've changed my perspective on a lot of shit, but now I'm also thinking like, well, fuck, man, you know, everybody's like, why don't you have a T-shirt? I'm like, man, because I kind of like the fact that if you see my T-shirt.
Telling you gave it to the guy.
I gave it to that guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and do I want to?
No, dude, that's that's like, hey, man, come on in, bro. Do your thing. You're welcome here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like just there. Yes, there is integrity. Let me tell you something. If you're in this motorcycle community for real, they're going to hold you fucking accountable. Yeah. You're not going to do any dumbass shit that we can't even say the words on here. You know what I'm saying? And it's a stand-up thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to, even if you're not in a club, how you guys operate, kickstands up at 9. We're doing this together. Everyone is working together to show respect for the communal effort of the group. You know what I mean? So it's
well, when you don't, like, you have to have a level of integrity that you're wanting. Like, if you build something, if you create something, say that if you paint it, that's the best analogy I can use. If I paint something, I want other painters to respect it. Right?
That's a certain standard. Yeah. And you recognize the standard of painting, and you adhere to that to be in that playing field. You know, so and then people see your work. The thing is like, I don't know, you just got to get there and tweak it, dude. You know what I'm saying? A little harder.
But if you allow customers, air quotes, you know, generalizing here, to kind of dictate that, the next thing you know, you're doing glow in the dark paint. You're doing a lot of clown shit because it's the hot thing. So, and not to talk shit about this, because I have a lot of respect for Orange County just for other reasons, but I would say they took that route of, I'm going to do what the customer wants and the TV show wants.
100%, and that's what lost every single one of us, the Black Hawk down bike or whatever. Yeah. Like, or they're like, you got 200 pounds of shit welded to this. We don't like it anymore, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
then you see the guys that kind of stay true to, like, you know, I'm not doing that. And then those dudes still have, like, hold weight in conversations amongst the generations. Well,
that's just the integrity of the community, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you just have to, like, you have to be a man of your word. You got to show up, you know, you got to help, you know what I'm saying? And there's more people that, like, in this whole scene that don't have a T-shirt company or aren't bike builders or nothing. They had a bike in Mama Tried this year, right? Probably a good 50 of them. Yeah. None of the motherfuckers, you probably care about a T-shirt, you know what I'm saying? These dudes in the Midwest here, they build their bikes to fucking ride them. Yeah. They build them to park it next to the homies and add to the fucking mix. You know what I'm saying? And we just have enough time to build up here, but yeah, we have a really big chopper scene up in the Midwest.
Nice.
And we always have, Dave Mann's from here, Tom Fugel, El Forestero, Skip Taylor, Moose, Tiny. I could tell you the moment that the Southern San Fernando Valley, Southern California biker movement hit the Midwest, period. And that's when Tiny rode back to Sioux City.
Yeah.
And he brought all the culture with him. Him and Tom at that time opened a head shop together in the middle of fucking bumfuck Iowa.
Yeah.
And that's when you could operate a head shop because the cops didn't know what a bong did. They thought it was for flowers, right?
Yeah.
And like I have an old poster of their fucking head shop, and it's like full San Francisco psychedelic. It was, what is it called, man? God damn, the leather bag. That's the name of it. And it was at Tom's house that he passed away in.
Yeah.
And it was like Tom, like basically just did this type of thing, but way more rustic. Like he had a showroom and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, oh, man.
But that's what I'm talking about, though. Like, what Tiny did is exactly the kind of thing.
He imported it here, and it exploded.
But he went and experienced it. He's like,
yes,
I got to show the homies. And you take it back. And that's what I feel like that's...
He brought Southern California motorcycle culture to the Midwest,
Yeah.
I mean,
and so having events, like I said, what Giddy Up was for me was taking something that I didn't see my entire community going to. So I took that and I did something different. I didn't do a show. I didn't do an event. I just did the camping,
too. Yeah,
right?
Camping, yeah.
And you get people to come and have that experience, and then it just opens the door for people. Now they're looking at different shit because before I had that Giddy Up, I had never camped before in my fucking life. I'm from the city.
Yeah. Oh, no, I hear
so,
you. No. That river, those campfires, I was like, I need to get behind that and see those stars, dude. Like, I feel it, dude. Like that first, I think I went to the first one. That was good. I didn't camp though. And I think I didn't go to the second one, but I went to the third one. And I went to every one after that.
They only did 6, right?
I think so. And by that time, we were up on the upper level. And I don't know, the last year I was there, we blew the place up with fireworks. And there's a couple locals dudes that live there all year round. And they were coming out, dude. They were fucking trying to, it was out of control. I stayed at the cabins the following year.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm sitting next to Derek Snodgrass, and there's a fucking sea of choppers. As the fireworks are exploding, you can see a pool of gas underneath the entire fucking thing, dude. I'm serious. You can see the reflection, and I'm sitting there going, dude, they're blowing off these rockets. One just exploded 5 feet. I'm like, and it was so close to just poof. Yeah. I think it's the only year the cop came out to that spot, possibly. Yeah.
But no, that's bringing that culture back and then allowing it. It's different.
I don't know where you could have gotten away with that show anywhere else. Period.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that in Minnesota. I don't think, for real.
But so when he brought that culture back, when Tiny brought that culture back here, I'm assuming that you have the nuts and bolts, but the bike that came together from that is its own style here, its own flavor, right?
100%. Yes.
And that's the point. That's the difference between copying and being influenced or inspired.
And another major influence in the Midwest was Dick Allen. Okay, Dick Allen is from Midwest.
Okay,
I know his nephew actually, Drew, and he's repopped some of his. I think it's his grandpa possibly, but I've been able to hear some really good stories about Dick through him, and then through the club, I've seen all the photography of when Dick Allen and his crew would come to town. And,
can you educate me on Dick Allen? Because I've heard his name dropped a couple of times.
Dick Allen was a chopper builder, an airplane pilot, a drug smuggler. He was a full fucking on outlaw. Okay, he was probably like the first guy with a fucking sleeping bag strapped to a sissy bar, fucking nonstop, L.A. to New York, going for it, right? And not only that, he created the open belt drive. All right, he was using dragster blower motor belts, and he created the first open belt drive. He was the first guy to run American racing wheels, magnesium on choppers. He also made a Springer front end that looks exactly like the Ness front end, and has very the rockers on it are very identifiable, and all this shit is rare as hen's teeth, and it basically him and Crazy Frank. Early, those two builders, all of Crazy Frank. I bet so many Crazy Frank vendors came directly to the Midwest, and that's where they are.
Crazy Frank's still alive, right?
Yes, he's in L.A. He was released probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I started an interview with him.
Oh, that's cool.
And It's fucking epic. Like, you know, he was locked up for long enough where it's like, you know, he like, what's your fax number? I was like, oh shit. You know, he like sends it all handwritten. I'm reading it. I'm just like, holy fuck. Like, this is fucking like gold, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I gotta fly out there to get the rest of the story, dude. I gotta get it on camera if I'm going to do it, you know? And, I don't know, just those parts were, you know, those motorcycle parts, those builders, you know, it was like, we didn't know any of this shit going into this. We had no fucking clue anything. You know what I mean? And, yeah, finding his history and, you know, just, I've always been into like, you know, just music and things like that. So it was like, you know, I was able to like work with the club on a book that celebrated 50 years of the El Forastero in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah. Yes.
The book, man, like I flipped through it a while ago while you were upstairs, and you know this I mean, to be able to get this kind of stuff in the first place and have it more or less sanctioned through them, and to be able to
it's fully sanctioned. I mean, that's the difference, man. This wasn't. I didn't get this from some widows or I bought it from somebody or this and that. You know, this was like this stuff. Like a lot of the old timers didn't even know what to think. Okay, and we went through. The older guys went through the photos. They marked out every rat. They fucking pulled every pic that was this, that, or the other. Those were the best photos. You know, going through like a group of 30 people and being like, he snitched. Beep, beep. You were like, had to go through it, you know, get it approved. And, dude, I was so honored to be able to fucking do that, you know. And I was able to do that through Tom Fugel, you know. And, you know, we met him, but he was an Iowa guy. And, you know, we're in Minnesota. So, you know, we got to know all the Minnesota guys, and you know, we're part of that for a while. You know?
Just like the photography, the fact that you know, from what I know, the foresight is what I know that Tom actually did shoot a lot of 8mm film
I
photography.
have one of his cameras with his signature that he engraved his name and the address of his mom's house on the bottom of it. I'll show you when he gets to my house. It's given to me as a birthday gift. Wow. His estate, it's so much stuff that there was no way to even possibly contain it.
I heard you in another interview say that basically there's like, it's like Tupac, if you will, for maybe off the thing records, but he created so much that over the years, things can be released to back into the society or to know or whatever, you know, to where it's like, you know, he's still going to be in your mind in 10 years when this thing comes out about like that he had or did or whatever, you know?
Dude, let me tell you something, man. Sturgis. Sasha, you know Sasha? He's like, you coming to Sturgis, Zach?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, man. A lot of cops at Sturgis, you know what I'm saying? My bike's is probably not technically legal. But so when Tom and them we used to go to Sturgis every year, and I've seen all the photos, they would stay at the dude who did the Crazy Horse monument.
Yeah.
That's where they would camp.
Oh, shit.
They were friends with that motherfucker. They were friends with all these people. They weren't just friends with other clubs. They were friends with people like that, right? Okay. And that was Tom. They would go on reservations. Like they had all kinds of shit going on. You know, Tom was, you know, had a native chick the whole time. His brother was an Indian anthropologist who was actually killed in Minnesota, you know? Like, I mean, his history was like so much, like you're saying, it was so much more than just motorcycles, man. You know, it was like this giant like universe, and it just all came together, and there's the bike. You know, that was just that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was that guy, like, for example, you talk about paint, how it's getting expensive, hard to be a painter. Tom found a certain kind of rock or mineral. I don't know what the fuck it is, but on some of his bikes, you'll see the metal flake. He didn't buy Kosmowski's metal flake. Yeah. He didn't. He wasn't down with that. Like House of Color and shit like that. That was like selling that to the squares was fucking forbidden. Okay. Like that's why Tom was a ghost for 30 years to mainstream motorcycling. Okay. He popped up in Easy Riders, I think in the 80s, but he was fully hooked in with Roth, you know, obviously Dave Mann, Easy Riders, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And he literally, like you were saying, he just wouldn't have, when the industry got taken over, he just ghosted it. You know? And then for some reason, when he saw our level of enthusiasm and then our group of guys with the choppers come back up, Tom just fucking appeared and just fucking was like, this is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the best thing was he broke, before this, you had these rich dudes putting together these period correct bikes that were like, you know, a $40,000 bike. Everything had to be perfect. Everything matched this, that, and the other. Tom was like, there's no fucking rules in choppers, man. We're not beholden to none of this shit. Like, the crazier it looks, as long as it's aesthetically done right and works and shit, yeah, go for it. You know, like, we were like encouraged to do everything but traditional stuff. Yeah. You know, and like you said, like, I had to swallow hard and accept some, like, you know, hey man, they like their fenders this high off the wheel. I'm like, I don't like that. But then you like see how they would like incorporate like a king and queen seat into it without all the seat. Yeah. You know, but it ran and they rode it and it worked. And like, yeah.
No, that's fascinating, man. And I knew of, I mean, you know, 21 Days Under the Sky, like, kind of told a very small piece of that story, but knowing that he went away, I never knew why. Obviously, it's not said.
He was just underground. He was still there the whole time. He didn't go anywhere. He did not want to be in magazines. The entire club was against magazines. I don't think anyone was in a fucking magazine with a patch on for fucking years, dude. Like maybe 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. What was it about? Was it
about he felt like the culture got stolen and taken over and sold out, and it pissed him off.
So we're talking like he kind of takes a hiatus, like what, late 70s, early 80s?
No, fucking probably late 60s, early 70s.
That fucking long? God damn.
But he had, you know, he was doing, you know, it wasn't because he wasn't in a magazine or something. Doesn't mean he wasn't living fucking life, bro. I'm talking, he was so immersed in his club that he created and all the riding and the people and this. I mean, Tom was the prince, bro. Yeah. I mean, the golden boy, like, for real, you know? Like, when you go to his clubhouse, like, it was the only clubhouse that had a 70s hi-fi stereo with insane vintage speakers, and he would be the DJ, dude. You're just like, oh, fuck. Like, this guy's rocking. Like, he was bringing the music from California to Sioux City, Iowa, and putting it on their stereo and playing it for 200-300 people that are into the Charlie Daniels band, probably. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, but he was already doing all that shit, bro. That dude's record collection was fucking, like, I kicked myself for not renting a U-Haul and trying to buy every single one of them. Yeah. Like, he was, and they were all signed. He would go to the concerts, and he was super into like black artists. He was friends with Bo Diddley and shit like that. Yeah, and they would party at his house, and like, you know, he knew these people. He'd come through town, he'd go find them.
He seems like, you know, like a very open-minded person.
He was dude. He was like the fucking. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Yes, yes. For where it was coming from, that club, out of like all the clubs I've seen, are pretty much one of the more artistic, open-minded. Attracts people that I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? It's like they really live their own life, man. You know?
Yeah. That I mean, that's all fascinating, just this every aspect of it, but also the custom bike aspect, just the, like I said earlier about the pictures and stuff, the tie into David Mann. And you know, that's the other thing I always wonder is like why David Mann never seemed to get the love from Harley, like proper. At least from the outside looking in. I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a sensitive subject, but you know, there was I mean, you know, when I was a kid and I saw the fucking Harley logo and some dude on a Harley, I kind of assumed that maybe he killed somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, dude, it was so badass that you were like, how do I get that? Yeah. Like, that's a trophy, dude, of like, you know, I fucking dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Here's the results. Yeah. It was more that vibe. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah,
but you know, I've got this whole wall. I'm sure if you listen,
yeah, you got all the Dave Mann centerfolds. Like
even whenever I scored a lot of a handful of magazines, right? Started hanging them up, and I collected them over the years. But then I got deep, and then when I posted about it, people started sending me their extras.
Yeah, dude.
And so now I have a stack of extras, and I'm waiting for the right dude to come around. But the point is, like,
I got all the prints right over here. I'll show you.
Nice. The point of it all is like. For the last month and a half that anybody walks in my shop, they stare at it.
Yeah, well, dude, it's fucking a vision, bro. Even Dave Mann was so good at capturing like the essence of it, you know, that but you know what? These aren't new Harleys. These aren't baggers. This isn't supporting the factory. I mean, we're talking about a group of people that have never bought a bike from a dealership ever, okay? Like, they bought their oil there, maybe a battery. You know what I'm saying? But, like, there's, like, unless you kind of live a certain kind of way, you're not going to go just sign on for a brand new Harley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it could be, it's purely economic in some senses. You know, it's just a different hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So literally when people come in and they show an interest, and like I said, I have a lot of newer, people to motorcycling, but having that there and having it says like, hey, have you experienced any of those yet?
Yeah, dude.
Because different
the fact that it resonates.
It does.
Like it does. And I've heard people say he's the Norman Rockwell of the biker culture, which is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'll show you his early work when he worked for Roth, pre-Easy Riders,
Yeah.
But like a lot of people didn't like Dave Man working for Easy Riders, and he moved from Kansas City out to California, and that's what he did, I just watched his on YouTube, his eulogy was filmed, and it's on YouTube.
It's
if you
on
look
YouTube?
it up, Dave Man eulogy or tribute, Dave Man memorial.
Okay.
Yeah, and they filmed the whole thing. It's really cool.
No, that'd be awesome. I mean, like, as an artist, like wanting to, or I don't know, as an artist, as someone that I wanted, it's not like it's not that I want to be the one to like, carry the legacy to keep the motorcycling alive or whatever, or keep the art in motorcycles, if you will. But whether it's just maybe I can help inspire that person that becomes that, or if I can, when you see these paintings and how they resonate, like that makes me want to make art that can resonate like our life in motorcycling for the generations to come, but also still be stoked when you see it now. Like,
it's timeless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even in 2020, you're trying to fucking take it back to fucking 1960. You know what I'm saying? And
well, it's the aspect is like it's all based on social media. It's like you get just wrapped up in this is the way it's worked for a while. It don't work on social media anymore. So I want to go do something that I'm compelled to do. It might be a fucking dumb ass idea.
Take the chance, bro. Take the risk.
I'd rather take the chance.
Don't be scared. You have to take. Look, let me tell you something right now. You're gonna have to go right up to the door and knock and say, "I want it." You know what I mean? No one's gonna hand it to you. Ain't gonna come to you. You got to be a man of action. You got to make it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, like, everybody you're involved with, like, you're like, you're writing down history for them, for that crew of people and that generation of people. And, you're part of the country and stuff. And like, dude, like, look, I knew I was going to talk to somebody about this shit at some point. Right. And like, but I had no idea there was going to be you. I didn't know you at the time.
Yeah. It's
been 6 years, since Show Class folded. And I've wanted to, just tell the good part of it, man, like, and how, this is like something we did and we're proud of it. You know what I mean? I mean, the magazine ended in such a crappy way that no one was proud of it at that point, but for about 5 fucking years, people were fucking stoked.
Well, I mean, I was fortunate to grab a couple when they hit the shelves back in the day in 16 and a little bit early 17. And dude, for me, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, dude, look,
it's the prototype.
It's a perfect example of we didn't need traditional magazines. You know what I'm saying? We fucking made our own, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like this was my first shit, man. Iron Horse, bro. Cover. Holy fuck. You know what I mean? Like what I had to go through to get this is Josh Kirby shot this motherfucker.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? And like, this was like this is a once in a lifetime thing right here. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's when we did this, I made that feeling happen for everyone that had their bike in this magazine too.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? And we were able to take control of our narrative, so to speak.
Yeah.
And people were looking at it through us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you lived and told by you.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing.
That's very important in today's, like, just you have no fucking idea what's real anymore, man.
Yeah.
With all the fake news and backstories and history. And I think it's more important to ever to, for people to, like, try to, that were there and experience, like, be there, experience it. That would be the first nice two. People aren't even there and experience it and they're talking on it. You know what I'm saying? Just because they got the vision through this, and you know what I mean? But
No, trust me, being able to come and do podcasts and sit down in these spaces and see how much art, like just the scratching the surface of your house while it goes like, holy shit, dude, am I going to be able to sleep tonight? You know, it's like there's so much to look at. And, you know, this the thing is, it's like right now I'm pushing magazines onto a lot of people, right? Anybody that'll hear me, anybody that'll listen to why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's going to resonate with some. It's not for others. But the best analogy I can have is that, like, when I first started this podcast, my little brother used to do it with me. And I've always loved to travel. And we'd go on road trips to, like, NorCal to do podcasts and shit. Man, he didn't give two fucks about traveling. He was on his phone the whole time.
You're doing it for the traveling. You're doing it for the experience. Yes. I mean, that's what I do that's what I've done. I've been able to live this life for 15, 20 years, but before it, I was living this life too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was never a big, this has been all good for me, man. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't.
But that's the point. So what it is like at that time in his life, whenever I was showing him this sauce, he just wasn't, he didn't have a taste for it. And so now he's starting to, and I think that's an acceptance thing that I've had to accept about, like, friends, you know.
Some people are late to the party, bro.
Yeah, you know, I think if they stay within motorcycling long enough, they're going to funnel into this, to wanting to know more about those bikes that, you know, were before and why and what's going on.
Man, my friends at Mama Tried, all you guys that were still standing after I've known you 15 years, at least over a decade. We had shows in the first Mama Tried ever. It's like, you don't know how, like, the people that are still around, and like I said, you know, these are people, they don't have businesses, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe, but at this point they can do whatever they want, you know what I'm saying, in that way. But it's more just like, you know, there's more people out there to just do it for the love of it than, you know, than the profit of it, you know. And it's like, there's just, motorcycling is just so passionate. And like I said, it's also deadly, you know what I mean? So it definitely stirs it all up, all the emotions, you know what I mean?
I mean, the deadly aspect is the thing. I've been telling my friends lately, we've been very, very fortunate. We have, in the last 7 years,
I've blasted the same roads you've gone through in the middle of the night, bro. Yeah. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? And it is gnarly. Like, just driving back from Milwaukee to Minnesota, I've done that ride so many times, and just by the seat of our pants the entire fucking time, dude. Yeah. Like, you know, and but it's a zone you get in, and you better be in that zone, and you'll survive if you're all in the zone. You know, it's like fighter pilots or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
There's a funny thing about last year's trip that I did with the Fast Life boys. Leading up to it, man, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't stoked about it. I don't know if it was because there was no big highlight. We're doing the Midwest, right? You know, going around the Great Lakes and shit. But I remember pulling one of the homies aside and, like, Champagne, how the fuck you say that, Illinois. Like, oh, man, I thought this was going to be a bust. And as soon as we got on the road, it was like back to the fucking way it's always been.
I call it the 100-mile rule.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to be thinking about everything as you're leaving home, but I guarantee you by the time you hit that 100-mile mark, you're just, like, good with it and going to go. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
you you got to get out there and get in it to, like, to feel it. Yeah, for sure.
So it's, you know, it's just crazy how, like, how unspoken it is, but it resonates. It's true. And it's so, like, everybody, you know, the 100-mile rule, like, you know, I've heard it said in a much more eloquent way of, like, you know, the first hour you're thinking about this and like really dive into that concept. But the 100 mile is the fucking.
Let's get to it.
Let's just get to it. It's 100 miles and fucking, you know, you're past it. You know?
I'm thinking about all the shit before then all the time anyway.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not here to blow my mind, dude. I'm not here to get to the point where eyes, road, hands, like zombie on them. Like, you know what I mean? Just the essence. I don't know, but.
So when you know, you've had the show for 15 years now.
Yeah,
right?
I've been doing a motorcycle show 15 years. Yes.
What puts you into that mindset to want to start to create things like that?
Okay, like I said, when I was a kid, we had skateboards. We didn't have a street to skate on. I built a half pipe in my yard. My friends came over. People came over from other states, and we all hung out and skated my ram. Before that, we lived at my family's chicken hatchery. I built a BMX track. I would come home. My pop-pop would, for $80, would get me a dump truck full of dirt. I'd come home to a pile of dirt in the backyard, and I was so stoked. It was unbelievable. I just saw this pile of dirt. Most people were like, what the fuck? I'm just like, thank you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, I learned early that like you can create scenes, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you don't have to be the fucking guy or nothing. You just, you know, you create scenes. And then when you see your friends and everyone like start to like grow with it and do some new shit when it affect them in a positive way. Because this motorcycling doesn't affect everyone in the same way. Yeah. It destroys a lot of people, man. A lot of people cannot handle this lifestyle at all. Yeah. You know, look how many people went to Mama Tried and you've never seen them on a Saturday. You dig what I'm saying? I know people that go there and you never even see them at the show. You see them at the bar, you know what I'm saying? But where are they at? You know what I mean? And it's a trip, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point about like building, you know, creating the once again, I feel like I do that. I've always said like, man,
I want people to share my joy.
Yeah, I want to do this. I want to do it with other people. This doesn't exist, or it doesn't exist this way. You know, no, man. There's like bike nights. Like you said,
you're creating an atmosphere, man. Like, you know, and when like I said, one person ain't going to make it happen. Like when a community comes together and makes it happen, that's just like you're not going to experience that any other way. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, it happens in motorcycling.
Yeah, like riding your bike by yourself is fun, but once you get the right boys with you, it's a whole new experience, right?
Yeah. I prefer to ride with a group.
Yeah.
I think safety in numbers is very true, and you know, and I mean that in every way. Like, you know, you want motherfuckers when you come by, you want people to be scared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially cars. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be aggressive. You know, like full on. You know.
And so you mentioned like the bike night that you guys have here, and I think you said it's like something that y'all kept for like 15 or 20?
I've done a bike night about 10 years. And
10 years, yeah.
It's been mostly at the Joint, which is probably a 50-year biker, the oldest biker bar in Minnesota, I'd imagine, or Minneapolis anyway, you know what I mean? And at one point, that little neighborhood had a fucking Easy Rider store, a Sucker Punch Sally place. It had fucking... this one dude had a custom shop. Like the whole area was like, they would do a thing once. They'd had the Wheel of Death out there with Rhett Rotten in town hanging out. You know, I don't know if you know that guy, but we would just have like, you know, we would go there and we got to see what they did, and then it died out, and I realized I was like, it's our turn, and then they let us in and let us do our fucking thing there. You know what I'm saying? And I just like having a bike night is different, dude. Okay, having a show is fucking awesome. It's a one-day thing, weekend thing. Having a bike night, you're going to deal with way more politics, way more people, way more everything. You're going to get everyone who rides bikes is going to come to it. Bike nights, to be honest with you, are nothing but trouble. Okay. Yeah. Every bike night I've had there's been drama. You know what I mean, one way or another. And it's just the nature of the beast, man. It's not like it was like at the other bike night I went to too. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like, you know, at times it's like, you know, do I still want to do bike night? Is it really worth like, you know, fucking, you know, getting shot or something? And then, but I was like, I got it. The community loves it, dude. It's free. I have bands play. It's like a mini show. You know, I have 2 bands, a food truck, you know. But this year what I did is it's at 4 different spots, 4 different bars. I already got the bars lined up, the parking lot, the extension of premises, the bands, the food, all that shit's already lined up. Guess what's not lined up? No one knows where the fuck it is. And I'm not going to drop the address until 24 hours before the event. Nice. If you already know me and shit, we're homies, you know where it is. Yeah. But you're going to have to, and dude, I've had people that haven't been to bike night in years going, oh man, that's fucking awesome. I can't wait till this year. And then on top of that, I'm turning it with Full Tilt. That's 5 events. We're doing a poker run. So if you go to all 5 events and you end up with the best hand at the end of the season, you might win some cash. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
You gotta this is like, I've done it, it's worked, like, but all this creative force just to arrive at the same shit we started with, I'm like guys, like changing this up is like, I feel like the most important thing I've done for bike night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and not being afraid to be like, we're not doing it there anymore. You know, it's not going to be like that anymore, you know? And I guarantee you, I'd rather have the quality over quantity at the end of the day.
And I was going to lean into that because that's exactly how we run our bike night. Like, I tell people all the time, if you need a big event to give yourself purpose there, you're going there for the wrong fucking reasons. Yeah,
this is to check in. Yeah. Pop up. You know what I'm saying?
We do our bike night every week, right?
Yeah.
But
do mine once a month.
I created it to be with the friends we created together to be a way that, you know, it doesn't need any promotion. Like, we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is show up.
That's great.
Right?
That's awesome. Don't even keep doing that.
And the reason why we do it that way, and it's like, you know, obviously, but yeah, basically every week, snow, rain.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, you come out, bam, there it is. You know, there's some bikes here. You've heard about it on the podcast. You maybe saw somebody post about it here and there. But same thing, what you just said about, like, you don't want to tell anybody about where the spot is until the 24 hours. For the last couple of years, we have ramped up promotion for the camp out from almost like the moment the last one ended, you know?
Yeah.
And this year, I've kind of just keeping it, like, we put some stuff out. I put a blog out. I put a little reel out on Instagram. Maybe a little story here and there, but that's it. I'm not fucking going all out because I kind of want to see if it resonates with the people that's experienced it.
I'm in the exact same spot. That's wild. That's across the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because like you said, it triggered me last year. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's a clout chasing event," and the thing is, it's not built on that. What people decide to do by coming to our event is on them, right?
Yeah.
If it's because they want to get known or get out there, like, I'm not mad at it, but I'm hoping maybe you'll come and get a different experience, maybe change your mentality or
it's
or
more
direction.
like rubbing elbows with those people. It's
Exactly.
like the band plays on the stage. Holy shit, that motherfucker, 10 minutes later, the guitar player's drinking at the bar.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I mean? That dude is having a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you're already on to the right thing with that, man. Yeah. And at the end of the day, even being a creative and, like, you know, with your paint jobs and like how I do my shirts and this and that, it's like there's a cap on all this, dude. There's only so much money, I'm serious, that you can make. You know, the idea of becoming a millionaire off of this is about as unrealistic as it fucking gets, okay?
Yeah.
People got to realize, you know, there's fame and there's fortune, all right?
Yeah.
There's infamy, it's two different fucking things. And unless you got both together, neither one works. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just feel like, you know, we've been sold this standard formula for so long, and we've actually worked with it and adhered to it and played with it, this and that. And then just to come to find out the same shit, you know, like, you want to change it up and it to be different, you know, maybe that's a killer thing to still feel like that 10 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of keeping things alive, you know, like, we had a bike night in Dallas that started in 1992, and it was just nobody knew who ran it, nobody knew who started it.
The one that stopped like that here is when I started mine.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just like that idea, you know, like, basically, I hate the fact that when that bike night kind of got turned over to my generation on there, it died.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, stunt riding killed it because it brought the cops.
Yeah, you're burning out on the street and shit.
No, I still love stunt riding, but it's like there's a reason why sometimes we do certain things in certain places. Because we used to leave that spot to go street race. We
got a stunt crew up here that's bad as fuck.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the thing. It's like, you know, you start getting, you know, when you are all communicating and fucking with each other, you have like this adhering idea of like, look, let's not burn out the spot. Let's not make this place, you know, let's not
dude, that's
kill
like,
on us.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. And it's like I don't know where like anything takes a point where you make that turn where you're like, I just feel like I said, I think you can only make so much in this industry with certain things unless you're like a partner or invest. You know what I'm saying? It's like as an artist or whatever, and it's just I don't know.
But I think that you naturally I think
I'm gonna do it either way is the thing with me. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I definitely wanted to, you know. You come out young, like, I want to make as much money as I can.
Yeah.
I want to live as comfortable as I can.
Totally.
But what happens when you start really living this motorcycle life is that you start to adjust what you actually want by what you actually want to experience and live. And so your house gets a little cheaper. Your car gets a little older. These things start to change because what you're really in love with is the experiences you're having. And you know, when you're young, you have time, no money. When you're old, you got a little money but no time. And so
but when the two match up, man, that's when it happens. But I know the time and money situation. Yes.
And so basically, you know, like, you know, I got friends that have fucking amazing pads, man, amazing houses, and they got amazing things, nice trucks, and they get to still come enjoy motorcycling with me. A lot of my dudes on my trips that have that.
Yeah, I got, buddy. Dude, I've probably never had a car over $2,000. My bike's 10,000, 20. You know, I'll spend tens of thousands of dollars on the motorcycle, and I'll drive a beater in the winter because I'm willing to make that sacrifice so I can do this other shit. You know what I mean? And same thing. It's. I don't know, man. You know, just living it is not for everybody. But you know, I wish that I wish people understood more, like that you're doing it. You're really just trying to share the experience, man. You know, and just the stoke and the vibe and like
being honest, right? Like, and there might be a time. I mean, that's the problem about everything is like right now and for the last couple of years for sure, I feel this way. Maybe over time it could change and go another direction, but. And that could all depend on like how things progress, how the world fucking goes. Like, I mean, there's a lot of different things to it. I mean, the way.
No, that's within the traditional industry headspace, though.
Yeah.
Okay, you dig what I'm saying? That's all like profits and this and losses and this. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, man. Why do we have to exist within that business, commerce, and that space and that corporate mentality? Yeah. Like the corporate mentality is not going to allow you to make any more money you're making right now. Yeah. Unless you got Joe Rogan numbers and you're getting fucking paid off YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you've already probably put more into this than if you got hired by fucking Harley tomorrow to do, as a job. Yeah. You've already.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I like Danger Dan, for example. Yeah. By the time Harley knew that he rode a fucking Pan Am across goddamn the world and back, you know what I'm saying? It was over and he had no photos. You know what I mean? It's like, that's rad. Yeah, and you have to talk to Dan to get the story. You know what I mean? And I listened to his podcast, and his words is good enough.
Yeah.
Not saying that. I'm just saying some of us move at the speed of light, bro.
Yeah.
Okay? And it takes years for anyone else to catch up. And by the time they catch up, you're on some other shit anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but the important part is that it's all the same kind of shit. You know what I mean? You're gonna, as long as like the fucking aesthetic is the same, you know, you're gonna feel this way for a long time, man. Once it opens up your mind, you know.
Nice.
I mean,
well, I feel like it will. You know, when the whole magazine stuff, and I think that's what kind of brought us together in the first place. Is just my love for him and your obviously love for him as well. You know,
well,
so how did
I love magazines. I hate magazines. You know what I'm saying? These magazines, okay, we all came from skateboarding and shit like that. This is the size of a skateboarding zine, okay? We used to get this through the mail. There would be an address in the back of fucking Thrasher. You send them $2. Yeah. And you get this shit back. You know what I'm saying? So that was the inspiration for this, was the total DIY. You know, we don't need it to be the same size as a traditional magazine at all. Yeah. Why? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? And that's like why I see a magazine on this side, it pisses me off for some reason. Because it's just built to be on the fucking gas station newsstand. And if it ain't going to make the newsstand, why the fuck are you building it to be on the newstand? It ain't going to be built on, you know? And so then, you know, we moved up a little bigger.
This is a focus group. A focus group decided to do this right here.
This was interesting. This company owned about 20 porno mags and one motorcycle thing. And as long as you could run the fucking penis erection ad pump in the back of this motherfucker, they didn't care what you did. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This was rare. This publishing company was fucking, that's like New York City shit. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, basically with magazines, I had a buddy who worked for Iron Horse after the horse died with Dave Snow as editor, and it kind of resurfaced for a second as this, and this dude taught me how to put together, you know, features, articles, reviews. I could already write. I could already shoot photography. I could lay stuff out. I knew, you know, all I needed to do is know, like, you know, the standard and the DPI, you know what I'm saying, all the tech stuff. And, you know, and I took to it pretty easy. And then, you know, that led to me, Tim, and Mike Clark coming up with Show Class. Yeah. You know, and there was probably a dozen people initially involved in some way or another, but none of them are around anymore. I'm the full-on last man standing. You know, I think the, you know, last person that got anything out of that was like Meredith Devine. You know, her portrait book started through this publishing. Yeah. Our group, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And Yeah, I mean,
So when it started, it was obviously to like just,
we weren't getting paid. We didn't care about money. As long as it didn't cost us a whole lot to do or nothing, in my case, we didn't fucking care, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was like desperate to be part of it. And I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? Motorcycles changed my life. And not only that, just the culture changed my life as well. Mm-hmm. And
so there's a sense of pride that's coming with this.
Dude, there's 100% sense of pride coming from it. And that's basically, that's what it operated on, initially. And then as more ads came into it, the more fucked up things get. And the more you try to run it like a real business that's a fucking multi-million-dollar corporation, you're not going to win, dude. You know what I'm saying? You got to disrupt and make it how you want to make it. And previous to this, magazines were pretty gatekeepy, okay? Mm-hmm. There's only going to be certain dudes on the cover of the magazines. There's no fucking way Joe Blow down the street that built his panhead is going to fucking end up on Easy Rider. Right? That didn't happen until this. All right. This is when we decided who was going to be in the fucking magazine. Yeah. And that feeling, everything we started worked up to the point where it was like, now we're calling our own shots, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you just look at these, it's obvious that every picture or photo or person in here is just trying their best, man. Yeah. Saying like really putting their best foot forward and like, not everyone could do it for a decade or whatever, but those that did.
But what I noticed even in the photography and a lot of it, is it was people trying their best. And then you get a lot of newer magazines, and I'm trying not to talk shit, but you get newer magazines that don't care. They just need to put another issue together to put out.
Why? Yeah.
To status quo with the current sponsors.
No, I'm not taking that, man. I don't want that, dude. No.
Yeah, that's, to me, that's like the death of it. Because
it is the death of it, man. And it's a fucking... It's why do people want to belong in that system, man? Like, look at all this. We fucking risk death to get outside of it and experience life, and then just to come back around and operate like within boundaries. Yeah. And we're talking custom motorcycles and shit. Like, that's kind of fucking weird. Yeah. Like, the show next week is dude, the event coordinators that put this show on are the same people that do every trade show that comes through town. This is like just laid out like the boat show, the wedding show. It's like, what? Mm-hmm. The same people that mark the tape off for the computer show or mark the tape off for the chopper show or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, even my display last year was for full tilt. I had 14 bikes in there. Every single bike won an award. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And that, like, they're showing us a lot of love. You know what I mean? But we didn't set our bikes up correctly. I'm sure you've experienced this, and caught holy hell about it. Because it was one thing outside the box. Like, it was all very obvious, but the fact that we didn't adhere to it, they flipped the fuck out. We still all won trophies and shit, but just like, it's hard to go up against that mentality, man, where it's just like, well, it's supposed to be over here and this and that. I'm like, dude told me to set it up and make it look good. Does it look good? Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Like, let us do our thing.
There should be some individuality. Yeah, you take something like
how can you not have individuality and promote individuality in this? You know what I mean? It's why people are there. It's like the builders. It's the same shit as a pro skateboarder. They can't fucking catch air, maybe on the bike or whatever, but we're talking like Born Free is an event that's like as big as the X Games, all right? The same amount of money that goes into the fucking Pro Vert X Games that Vans puts in, same amount of money goes into Born Free. Mm-hmm. Almost every skater, I think, that's in those games is getting $20,000, $30,000 just for fucking showing up. Mm-hmm. And they're sponsored all year round. And they're able to keep skating and make a career out of it their whole lives. I don't see any of these builders these days being able to do any of that. Yeah. I see everyone going for broke, and then they're not going to get 30 grand for their bike. No one cares. And they're going to raffle it off, and hopefully just to get back what they put into it. Yeah. And they hate everything, and it's just like,
it does kind of like ruin the taste.
The competition building thing is fucking corny as fuck, dude. And it's like a direct, like, biker build-off discovery chat. Like, those people came in here and did this to us. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, when you lose control of something that you help birth, man, it's just the fucking, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that like, you want to, at least if something's going to die, you want to know it died because of your own decisions and not because somebody else fucked it up, right? Like I don't
ever want to die.
Yeah, I don't want to die. But
I just want the history to be represented correctly.
Yeah. What I mean by that is like if you build something that you put all your energy, your love into, and you have a vision and direction, and you see it start to kind of get peeled away from you, and then it dies, and you know what I mean? To me, it's like,
oh yeah,
I'd rather just know that I fucked up, and I can live. It's like when you
come on, I mean, dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you fuck up something on your bike. If you let someone else do it,
repair what you can repair, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you, and it's just being put in a box, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's just the nature of the beast. It's like, I'm stoked on all my friends' success with all these giant chopper shows and stuff like that. But, once you start hiring event coordinators to answer the emails and text messages, and I've been friends with you all this 20 years. I stayed at your house at the first Born Free or whatever.
Yeah.
And you are no longer in contact with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all those, hey, you brought your bike here for 10 years. Yeah, you got this spot. Yeah, it's whatever. And now it's like, well, it's all new now, and it's fucking $2,500 to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where so-and-so is, but you're talking to me now. And it's like we spent all this time to build all this shit up, and now you're going to do us like that, dude. You know what I mean? It's like
that's a good point.
It pisses me off, man.
Yeah.
Because I think every builder that brought a bike in the Born Free group or the People's Champ or even fucking Mama Tried should be compensated for being there, man. Just to support that guy to be able to keep doing his fucking thing so he can keep having a show with a new bike in it. It's getting harder and harder for people to put their hearts and souls into this, and it'd be a fucking racket.
Yeah, I'm
all for it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a hustler. I'm all for it. I get it. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But let's see it for what it is,
So, and I'm sure there's some smoke and mirrors and going on, but
100%.
From what I understand about a lot of the show building stuff is like as your show grows, so does the cost to put it on, as I'm sure you're aware of. And it's really tough to know exactly how much money actually gets put in the pocket after said every entity is paid. And the thing about it, like one of the things I did a podcast with like Paul Yaffe, I think it was, a long time ago. And he had talked about how the big shift and change in the money, maybe the industry that we're talking about, the kind of like the Jesse James and all those, why it died was when they made it to where these cigarette companies couldn't advertise anymore and these beer companies couldn't advertise in certain areas. So now you got a lot of money that gets extracted from the custom bike industry.
I never even really thought about that.
Yeah, that's why
that's 100% true. Yeah.
That's why the only thing you see now is insurance companies.
Yeah, dude,
and lawyers, because they're one of the only demographics that have enough of that advertising capital to put back in. But it's still fractions of what the cigarette companies used to do. So in 2003, when you go to Sturgis and the Iron Horse Saloon has a $30,000 purse for the baddest fucking bike there, and then Buffalo Chip's doing it. It's like you have these cigarette companies that want their eyes and all this stuff, and especially with all the TV culture that's going on, they're thinking like, well, shit, maybe there's going to be a Camel Cigarettes logo behind on a biker build-off show, right? They pull all their shit, then the insurance companies tackle down on MSOs.
And here's the exact irony of it all.
Yeah.
I want to smoke and drink and ride bikes.
Exactly.
Guess what? I'm here and I'm worried. I better go get more insurance.
Exactly.
I'm scared. I mean, it's like, that's just the crowd getting older, I think, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And a lot of these shows I've heard were Sturgis, Daytona were started by bikers. Mm-hmm. It was a biker event. People just fucking showed up. Bars dealt with them. It grew. These events got taken over by the city, the police force, turned into revenue streams, and they bust everyone's fucking balls the entire time, and you're going there spending money, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why I don't want to go, bro. I don't want to go. I've never been to Sturgis or Daytona. And I've talked to people who have been there for 50 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like to go back to Fugle, they would stay at the Crazy Horse thing. They would go to Main Street. Fugle had an alley that he sold his shit out of for fucking like 20 years with no permits, no nothing. I think the alley is still, if you know, mm-hmm. It's like right between two bars that were like two clubs even.
Yeah.
So he would the alley is very infamous in that area and he did it until they busted him and fucking tried to start, finding him. He couldn't come back anymore, dude.
Yeah.
But he was out there. No one said, hey, set up on Main Street. He was out there on Main Street, set up, selling shit. You know what I mean? And like when that died, then, obviously.
Yeah, I think
when it was like 20 grand to be there on the same spot.
When I talked to Lichter, we talked about that, about how the late 70s, it was like a campground, a racetrack, and then some bars, and you just went there and then you made your own fun, right?
Yeah.
And then when the money came into it in the late 80s and 90s, especially in the early 2000s, the money brought the schedule, the band list and what time, and then this is where this is, and it became like
butt over here, this over here.
It's like it just became Disney World, And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Sturgis. I don't really care too much for Daytona, but that's because I feel like what Daytona essentially doesn't exist anymore from what I've heard from a lot of the OGs. But I also think that's why grassroots small events are so necessary.
I think we are starting to realize the importance of them.
Yeah.
Now coming out of this 2020 clusterfuck, fake news, bunch of bullshit, split the motorcycle scene down the middle. Fucking. I got friends in Texas. They're not voting for Trump, dude. They're like with a militia planning on fucking like taking over the government. Like they're on some whole everyone's on some whole other shit. You know, like. And the motorcycle community got fucking spun. It got divided. It was like, do you like the cops or don't you like the cops? We never liked the cops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now, it's just like shit's changing, and it's like those that sounds like a direct result of how the stuff changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of what you said too, like the growing aspect of it, because
it's the nature of the beast when I say that.
Yeah,
because it can only grow in certain areas and certain spots, and it. You know what I mean? It only grows so much, I
mean, I think you said it on the Big Truth podcast about how the only subculture to survive the 60s was the bike culture.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the government wiped out the Black Panthers, all the student protesters, the Weather Underground, they fucking hunted all those people down, killed most of them.
Yeah.
And the California boys fucking held it down the whole fucking time. You know what I'm saying?
But it's almost like
this day.
It's like another maybe conspiracy theory down it. It's like let's just say they allowed, or whatever, for sake of this argument, they allowed the motorcycles to continue, and then those kind of evolve after the Vietnam War into like a little more violence, a little more drugs.
Yes.
Then it allows them to start the whole RICO stuff and all these other harder laws that they start putting down,
hammering
organized, crime, if you will, So there's a conspiracy there, but at the same time,
it's a narrative, though, dude.
Yeah,
shit looks bad on paper. Certain agencies you can't bother to fight.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's just like, I hear you. It's fucking it's God. I just had something on my mind about that, man. But classic example, student Vietnam protests. Mm-hmm. All right. West Coast bikers went to the protest. Who'd they back up?
Who?
The fucking soldiers, the Vietnam vets. And they beat the fuck out of all the liberals, Berkeley fucking liberal people with fucking signs got fucking demolished, all right? If you read all the books about the California originators, one dude, like one of the main like liberal speech guys, like he tried to fucking attack him. I mean, dude, they backed up the soldiers. They didn't really back up the cops, but they backed up the soldiers, dude.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened, I think, in 2020 as well. I think it's the same type of thing. Because you had like outlaw groups and people and stuff but like you're going to support the cops in this riot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, that was in Minnesota. So it's...
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think because the riot situation was kind of on the premise of like it's just fucking up businesses that had nothing to do with whatever's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's noble, dude. That's real shit. That's good shit. You know what I mean? But like
this world, this economy. I mean, there are so many businesses that have the facade of what you think they're making tons of money, and they're barely fucking making it.
Their small business is just a lifestyle and a culture. You're just running and owning a small business. That's all there is to it.
Insurance doesn't fucking work. Like you roll the dice, and as much as you hit snake eyes, it's about as much as people actually get fucking, like taken care of with insurance stuff. Whether it's a flood and you actually have flood insurance, or it's
you don't know what you signed, what the fine print says.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I know, man.
So it's like there's just so many things.
It's hard to have faith in those type of systems and things that have historically just fucked people over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, yeah, I hear you.
But like, I think that not to be super political at all, and I'm really not. But like, what's going on now is like just lost. Like it's information with no results. Like there may be aliens. Is there or is there not? Like you just have these things. It's like questions.
And that's important shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like come on.
Like can you like finish this conversation? In public, so we'll
I'm
know?
interested in the aliens part. Yeah. I get you.
Or
and before it was like, is there aliens? Well, the government hasn't told us that for 100 years. You know what I mean? It's like it went from fucking unclassified, X-Files shit to oh yeah, by the way, it's all good. And dude, like, have you seen the Skylink yet?
The Skylink is the Elon
satellite,
shit, right?
Yeah, it's like 400 miles or orbiting over the Earth. It looks like a piece of fucking farm equipment in the sky. It's so Star Wars looking, like Millennium Falcon finish and shit. Like, dude, we're out at this van thing, camp out. We're standing there, and this fucking thing just fucking comes. And we were just like, everyone's just like, it was a fucking UFO, right? We had no idea what it was, right? And I noticed it was man-made. I could tell immediately. I was like, this is man-made.
See the fucking worlds from here.
Yeah. For real, I could see it. The industrial, I was like, some blue-collar dudes made this thing, right? And so everyone thought it was alien. So I went home and I fucking Googled it. And I did all my research and I found out it was like the Tesla satellite that they just launched. And saw it again. Thought, dude, that thing is amazing, dude. If you go anywhere outside the city on a clear night, you'll probably fucking see it. Yeah.
Well, like I said, on that note, there's all this information that comes at you with no solution, there's no thorough conversation about it. So it leaves all this anxiety in people. And then it comes out in all these other cultures or subcultures. It's all
sideways and shit, man. Yeah, people, it's just like, it's hard to know how to take people. And what does this mean that or blah, you know what I mean? It's, that's why I think it's important to be very clear cut with your words. And also it's very important for us to tell our history in this motorcycle chopper era that we were part of. It's like, because I hate to say it, but like, do we want a Hollywood guy to tell the history of our thing that wasn't there?
Yeah.
That was looking at it through his phone? You know what I'm saying? Or should the people that like put in the work talk about it? I don't know. It seems like the Hollywood people would talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what they want. You know what I mean? But with all this fake news and all this kind of bullshit narrative stuff, that's the exact reason why I'm talking about the shit. You know what I mean? Just so people know where this came from. You know what I mean? And yes, I'm proud of it for sure. You know what I mean? Definitely. But at the same time, it's like there's a lesson to be learned in being in business, in this business.
Yeah. Man, like I said, man, the fucking world is weird, and it's just like it's causing a lot of people to be very lost, but most people don't want to admit that they mentally like, I don't know where to put my.
You're giving us too much stuff to decide on, dude. Like how do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? I felt fine about it until you're throwing it in my fucking face every fucking day, all the time, and asking me like, how do you feel about this? You know what I'm saying? It's just people are scared of shit right now, bro.
I believe so. Yeah.
They're scared to say the wrong thing. They think they're going to get canceled. They're going to think someone thinks this or thinks that, and it's just like total. It's like prison. And just like I've never seen any like. You would think that when they said the aliens were real, that the fucking riots would have happened. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like when they said that, there'd be partying in the street. Like if they mentioned aliens were real during COVID, people would be like, yeah, like. Instead, they do this other crazy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they kind of same thing when they were releasing the Kennedy stuff a long time ago. Yeah. It's like
this stuff doesn't faze people anymore. They don't even pay attention to it
because they're so overstimulated with all these other things that you're kind of like, I can't even right now. You just throw the papers in the air and walk off. Basically,
you're like the CIA brought crack cocaine to America. It's just like,
of course they did.
It's just fucking That's
it's a crazy mess, man.
There's too much access, man, and I always think that like news is like it should be a trusted source, a trusted person. That's why these podcasts, I feel like I'm hearing the real shit on these podcasts,
hearing the real opinions, and then you getting like you go into the deeper dives. You know what's crazy to me? Like I had a chick recently that was working for a brand, and she got turned on to me to maybe bring their brand into our product or into our podcast. And she goes, yeah, our friend, our mutual friend said that you're the Joe Rogan of the motorcycle podcast scene. And she said, and I was like, just taking the compliment or whatever. She goes, I don't know if I don't think that's a good thing, but, I was like, and I wanted to say like, whoa, what do you got against Rogan? And of course I didn't, but then I started to like hear like certain things. It's like, this dude brings on people that are said experts in what they know, the same people that Fox or CNN would probably do if they play ball, right? Giving them the opportunity to talk whatever facts. I'm sure there's some things that are wrong here and there. Nobody's fucking perfect, but you're not getting a better opportunity to hear fucking real
firsthand experience,
stuff,
firsthand people that were fucking there, dude. Yeah.
And to spin it like Rogan's a bad dude because he's giving people the chance to
I don't like I mean, Rogan's obviously alpha male type, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle that male energy and shit. Mostly certain kind of women get turned off from it. I think that's really all it is as far as his thing. But no, I got turned on to Joe Rogan when he first started. It turned me on to podcasts. I still check him out here and there if it's a guest I really like. But I will tell you one thing. Yes, he's bringing the real deal on there, and you're going to hear some real shit on there. Mm-hmm. You just look into like all this border stuff, dude. Holy fuck,
bro! I live in Texas,
down there, right?
Yeah, but we're far enough from the border.
Dude, did you know Dan's route to the fucking on the Pan Am was basically the same immigration trail through the like? I was like, did you read about the Darien Gap before you went through? He goes, no. He goes, if I did, I never would have done it. I was just like, wow. I
told Dan that when I saw him yesterday.
He like, dude, they probably really thought he was a spy for real, like with a drone and shit, like on that trail.
Dan's got a look and a vibe that like he just looks like he's supposed to be wherever he's at. Yeah. Like nobody just whatever. I'm not even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he blends in.
He blends in.
Blending in. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's an oxymoron to the T. But like he was telling it because I asked him last time he was on the podcast. Like, dude, I really want to do the Mexico thing. What you did, but dude, did you have any kind of like fear going through some of these? He's like, no, dude, I just went right in. I'm like, yeah, dude, but that's different for you. Like, some people just like they just skate by shit all day long, and some of us fucking get trapped in it every time.
Yeah. Just like like how he describes all the border crossings and this and that. Like, I mean, dude, he hustled his way through all. It might have cost him $100 at each one, but I guarantee him just leaving with the bike and ID was probably a win.
Yeah,
and. I love Dan, man. And,
100%.
I don't care about Pan Americans or any of that shit, but I love Dan and what Dan does. And
Dan's going to be the guy that I hope I'm alive to see it, but he's going to be one of those guys that they make a documentary about in one day.
That's funny you say that because, like, that Jesse chick that died,
Jesse Combs.
Jesse Combs. Like, I think I saw a picture of Dan and her the other day, and it dawned on me. I was like, Dan is going to be in the same realm.
The moment that he started doing a podcast, like I said, what we just said about him, he just next thing you know, he's sitting in the fucking Harley Davidson board meeting. He's like, how the fuck
dude, listen to this. When he came here to do the podcast with me, I met him at Fuel in Cleveland. He's like, I'll be there in 3 days. He rode his fucking panhead to Minnesota. The X Games was happening. Somehow he's like backstage at the X Games, got his chopper like right by the track. He was this close from being the dude on a chopper on the X Games flat out Friday, whatever the shit was, he was right there, bro. And I don't know how the fuck he did any of this. And then like listening and him telling me later, then he like rode with all the pro athletes like to the next spot, and then X Games was over. If X Games wasn't over, Dan would probably be the goddamn announcer or something at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he was just like, it was just right, like he almost hit the flat out thing. And it's not a rusty butcher, like 2-3 year fucking ruling realm. Like Dan's been around for a fucking while, dude. Yeah. And he's already been around. He's a new guy to me, but he's already been around for a while.
Yeah. Well, it's because he went in heavy. He put, if you want to play the 10,000 hours rule, he's put 10,000 hours.
Yeah. No, he's laid quickly. Like us, like people can be like, oh, they're talking about art stuff or this shit is deadly, bro. Motorcycling can kill you. Like,
you think about your legacy.
Keep it real. That's what the danger part is,
you think about your legacy more when you ride something that you could literally be gone every fucking morning or day. Yeah. And so it's not like some kind of like ego that I'm trying to like think about my legacy. It's how are my kids gonna remember me?
Well, I share It's fucking retarded. But a lot of musicians are this way, and I'm the same exact way. I don't know why I want to leave something behind for people to enjoy and remember me by. I have no fucking clue why I want to be part of history. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea, but that's an urge I've had all my life. You know what I'm saying? But it's a contribution to it. I want to try to contribute something that other people can enjoy, and it attaches to the fabric of the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's that's
a good point.
I don't know where. I mean, a lot of my friends that are in bands. I mean,
maybe it's just inherent, right?
I think so, because my friend Bobby Goodtimes, you know, he's got, you know, recorded albums he's on. He's on all kinds of bands on Spotify from 20. You know, I mean, the dude has like, his history is recorded. His music, he's recorded. You know what I'm saying? And like, how you can't get any more leaving a mark behind than that. And that's what goes into like your book, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like, that's how you do it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I think, but you got to also realize, look at how much it's going to cost to make. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be cautious of how much yourself you're going to give away.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Because like I said, like I see people giving themselves away, and like, you know, like I said, Dan, all the way across America and back on the Pan Am. I see all these other guys on Pan Ams on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's because they set it up, you know, and did it like, all right, well, next month we'll have a meeting, and then we'll meet, and then the following month, Dan was like, nah, none of that shit. I'm coming back. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, that's just a certain kind of energy, man. Yeah.
No, like I said, I think that the aspect is it naturally. I think that I was inspired to get into photography through social media like Instagram. So I decided that that's where I was going to consume photography, and it's through literally sitting in the backyard of Michael Lichter when he had to go run and do a meeting real quick. So he brought a fucking stack of photos.
How many people does that happen to, bro?
Dude, I find myself in places that I'm like, it's just
like I'm friends with Lichter. I got his phone number. I talk with him here and there, and it's like that guy is the fucking like wealth of knowledge in this whole. Talk about the history of the scene. Holy Christ, you know, like I saw this one picture that he took of like one of the concerts at Buffalo Chip.
Yeah, with the lightning striking.
Well, I think there's 2,000 faces in it, and you can see them all. Yeah. And like it's a sea, you know, and it's like, how do you do that, bro? Like, I can shoot a bike from here, but how do you do that? You know?
You get in focus. It's a big fucking.
I mean, you're just I thank you, Michael, and I'm stoked that he's schooling you, man, because that's like, you're getting knowledge no one else is going to get, man. You know, but how many people are asking for it at the end of the day is the other thing these days, you know. But the fact dude's laying it on you, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, I think like it goes back to what I said earlier. It's like when they see you at events multiple times, they realize that you're putting in the effort, so they start.
You said it on your podcast, right? Yeah, that's exactly yes.
You don't, it's not a one hit.
It's an earned place, man. Yes. And then guess what? It's hard to get there. Try keeping it, man.
Yeah,
you hear what I'm saying? Try keeping it going. It's real fucking hard.
Yeah,
you know, and either you're going to be in it or out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, trust me, the older you get, the more it's like, how do I do this forever? And then, and now, like I said, my entire adult life, from 21 to now 41 right now, I have only worked in the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
Right? I never had a job in this time frame where I was working on bikes, but then I took a break and went and, swept the
built
streets.
Houses or
nothing like that. Like it was a constant.
Pretty much all motorcycle.
Yeah, it was either motorcycle shop or I owned a shop or then I had to put it away and go freelance. It's like you kind of got to, Henry Rollins said this a long time ago. I love it. It's like when you sell the seeds of uncertainty, like you just got to fucking go. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah, dude.
But you're compelled to do it, right?
Yeah, and believe me, there's more fucking disappointment and heartbreak in it than there is fucking glory.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? And
but it's because the highs are so much higher than normal life.
The lows. That's the thing I struggle with is the roller coaster of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And, my what I'm trying to do is like, I was like, that's why I talk about like, be careful of how much you put yourself into things, because you're going to, if you want to get all this shit done, you're going to have to learn how to be economic with your creative time and put it in certain areas. And, you know, people are texting you and shit, be like, I'll answer that shit later when I have time. You know what I mean? When I have time to. And it's like, it's definitely like a fucking art that you got to mathematically figure out how to keep it going. And some people can't handle the highs and lows at all, period. And it sucks. And the best thing, like my buddy who's been in a touring band for fucking 20 years plus was like, he's like, dude, he's like, don't worry about it. He's like, try driving 300 miles and 3 people show up for your fucking show and you make $20. He's like, you know, he's like, most people never experience that type of hardship. You know what I mean? And but those are the people that are still here and really doing something now. You know what I mean? It's a fucking, it's vicious. It can be vicious. It really is. And that's why at the end of the day, what you're working for and towards, you have to be very aware of, I think.
Yeah. You know, like putting actual effort into it, giving yourself realistic times to be a part of it. You know, I had the same talk with a close buddy of mine who had his first real hardship in trying to produce, like, go down a path, right? Making a video. He had a big setback. And he was ready to go sell everything that he had just because it was such a devastating little situation, right?
That's just the first start of it.
Exactly. And I'm like, look, man.
It's all about how you
think about how many people start in, I want to be a videographer, a photographer, a basketball player, a football player, a musician. You know, like those ups and downs are kind of like the universe's way of like weeding a lot of fucking people out.
Yeah.
You know, the drugs is a lot of way to weed people out. Can't deal with, you know, mentally, like you can't deal with this or that or whatever. It's like they're all hardships that are designed that once you get past them, you have the sauce and you have the secret to that sauce, and that's never a problem ever again, you know? But now you get to level 2. Level 2's problems look way different than level 1's problems.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, I know. Like, I heard something that haunts me to this day. Nothing cool ends well. You know what I mean? That's kind of fucking scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that, like, you know, that reality, you know, you see some motherfucker standing on the side of the road and shit, you're like, shit, that could be anybody. I kind of came from that. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it's fucking, believe me, dude, it's the biggest gamble you're ever going to take with your fucking life, period. You know what I mean? My dad worked for the state. They paid for his fucking funeral. Like, he, you know, I mean, he was fucking taken care of. Yeah. You know, and because he knew, you know, these are people like, you know, grandparents, Depression era, so they went and got jobs where, you know, that shit was guaranteed, man. Yeah. And our job is not guaranteed at all. It 100% hinges on how much we want to put into it, man. And, you know, and creative force, you know.
I mean, the goal would be to, you know, have a send-off like Fuel did or a send-off like Ness did, you know?
I guess so. I don't know, though. You know what I mean? It's, like I said, you're like, you know, you're like, you can't believe Dave Mann is not in the Smithsonian. And now I told you, I said Tom Fugel stuff will be in the Smithsonian. I mean, like, I knew that 10 years ago. It hasn't happened yet or anything. It will be.
Do you think that at some point somebody's going to try to tell that story? Yeah.
They already are through Fugel Files, okay? The guy that does that, just a dude that grew up in Sioux City, not really a biker. He ended up buying all the photos, runs the Instagram page. He wasn't there. He wasn't a club member. He doesn't ride with us. I mean, I know he shook the guy's hand. Yeah. He's telling his history, all right? Yeah. Club brothers are like, yeah, when they tell Tom's history, they're going to come to us. I said, nah, bro. They're going to that guy. They don't want to fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They'll deal with the guy that made the in-between, and that's the guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we don't know that guy, you know?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, I'd like to think that as his legend grows, you know?
He's beyond all this, okay? Yeah. His stuff, he's got so much fucking stuff out there that will be orbiting around this earth, traded, collected, sold, cherished, treasured, that, like, when you start seeing some of it, you're going to be like, whoa. Like, there's so much, Tom left so much behind, dude.
Yeah, I want to say, maybe it's Tim O'Keefe.
That's Tim O'Keefe photo right there. I got that from the last Southern Throwdown from Tim, yeah.
So I think he has a chandelier from Tom.
Yeah, dude. tuned into Tom. He told me when he was building his bike, he was listening to some of Tom's old records actually, and he felt guided by his fucking spirit, bro. Like Tim's a rad dude, man.
Yeah, he's
I haven't seen him in like 5 or 6 years. I don't know if he's rodeoing or whatever, but
he's following his passion, man.
Love his work. I especially love his early work he was doing. It was all white and blown out, vintage looking photo, and yeah, we have a connection with him. He would come to like Sioux City, Bill Mize, he's buddies with him, and Bill was getting a lot of the old Chopper stuff directly from those guys. And yeah, Tim's seen it for sure.
Yeah, Tim is a guy that like I'm still waiting on the invite to come carry his camera bag for him one day. But he has instilled a lot. He's been on the podcast a few times, and like he lives a little far away from where he used to live, so it's kind of been harder to kind of reconnect. But as somebody a wealth of knowledge in photography, because he's an artist and he knows how to, he sees things, he's the art in photography. Photography is a skill. That
he's the art part of it.
Yeah, you can learn the skill of doing the thing to get a decent photo.
Yeah. Did you look at Billy Childress's photos over the weekend?
Which ones is that?
He was on the balcony. Billy's from North Carolina. He had the white wall.
Yeah, I bought some. Yeah, I bought 2 prints of that. Yeah.
That's my homie. All right?
Yeah. His shit is that.
He's a straight hillbilly, okay? North Carolina boy, right? That dude is possessed by some other photographer from the past, has instilled the talent in this man. Yeah. This dude is like you're saying about Tim, so talented that you're like, it's almost unearthly. It's almost like, this is like, he's got another couple other people living with him or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and a perfect example is like, Curpius, man. Like, he is the dude who was 21 days under the sky. It's like, no, welcome to the Midwest. Come find this shit.
Yeah.
Like when we saw these photos, we were like, I want to be there, bro. I want to be in that sunset.
Yeah.
And you know how many moments I've been in that sunset and I almost found that sunset through Josh, dude. Josh always talks about the golden hour, dude. He only shoots during the golden hour, at least for personally.
Yeah.
And Billy, my hillbilly friend, you see his skies?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's influenced by Josh, but he tweaked it the fuck out.
So funny story.
And it looks completely like Billy's stuff,
Funny story is I went and, Todd Bluebaugh is a guy that I kind of have gravitated towards because one of his books was the one that Lichter laid on my table.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast.
And we talked about, Josh Curpius because like I said, I love that dude's, I love that whole 21 days stuff. But what's weird about it is that I said this to Todd off air. I was like, I can't find his work. When you look at his Instagram page and it goes back to what you said earlier, it's like, where, is it this calculated thing?
You'll see it when he wants you to see it.
Yeah.
And he's not doing a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he could do the baddest fucking book out there.
Yeah.
But he's not ready for it, Yeah, Josh is he's an anomaly in this situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've tried to talk to him twice just in passing, and it's always kind of like one of those situations where I really don't even have anything. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Do I just completely kiss your ass for 2 minutes until it gets awkward and then we walk away?
Wait till he comes up to you, dude.
So
he doesn't get as much. I mean, the dude is a fucking brilliant genius, but there's so much more to it than just his photography as far as what he's done and who he's helped and what groups he's been with. And I mean, there's Josh, and there's a whole lot of rad motherfuckers that were right behind him, hanging out with him the whole time,
Yeah.
Josh is like the Fugle of that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But one that was able to actually that Harley actually is paying. Tom could never figure that out. You know what I mean? But I knew Josh right when he shot this. I think that summer he may have shot his first Harley ad.
Oh,
and
okay.
The funniest thing is when he shot this is when he was standing on his fucking bike and turning around and he's riding the bike. You've heard about all this, obviously. So he's when I saw that, I did that just to do it. You know what I'm saying? But when I first saw it, I was today, man. Now we see all these I see endless pictures of some chick in lingerie with a stock Sportster. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey ladies, we weren't flexing that hard around our bikes just to try to be attractive. We built these goddamn bikes, the pride. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just It's weird, man.
Yeah,
it's misinterpreted almost. Yeah. You know, it's like that's a stock motorcycle. Like, what, you bought it? Is that what you're proud of? That you purchased this bike and now you're standing in front of it? Like, just get your picture taken at the dealership before you leave. Don't put this on my feed, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and it's like, I mean, looking back at a lot of these photos, I mean, yeah, it is kind of funny. You know, it is. You know what I'm saying? We look intense and this and that, but we built these bikes, and like I said, these things can kill you, bro. So it is serious, you know?
No, that's a good point about you just said, like, you're taking a photo. Like, I found myself, like, it's kind of an epiphany. It's like I found myself, like, wanting to be in a photo with my bike because there is some kind of inherent pride that goes into it. Of course,
yeah, you in that pic, I saw the pic. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's different. You know what I mean? It's wild, different, man, you know?
But, man.
And I don't know how you've stumbled upon this, but I'm really happy that it's like, it's fucking, it's awesome. No, just the energy, man. Like, like you're able to, like, sense where it was and coming from and zero right in on it, man. You know?
Yeah, that's a fuck. If I had one skill, if this was a world of superpowers, then I know how to get in the center of things.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at that too. Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, it's just what speaks to me. I've known about this for the better part since 2016.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But it just.
See, a lot of people I didn't get to meet after the last Giddy Up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't meet Nick at the Giddy Up. Yeah. I saw Dan at the last Giddy Up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's a whole crew of people I didn't. When the Giddy Up ended, it really cut off, like, Texas and the world as far as the chopper scene goes, you know? And I've talked to guys down there.
That was a domino effect. You know, things started changing in Dallas too.
Yeah, I heard basically, like, the chopper scene's pretty dead down there. I was over at Theron's house. You know him? Dude, dude. And the bikes those Vice Grip dudes were building were fucking next level shit. You know, he owns Theron owns Cap Service and Repair.
Okay, I've been to Caps before. Yeah,
he was in the Twin Peaks thing. Shit, you know, like, poor guy, like, you know what I'm saying? I think he'd been in for like a week.
Yeah.
And like, we went to his house, man, and it was so cool. It was just like my house, and I'm just looking at the walls and this and that, and, like, you know, you're just like, where's the bike? And it's like in the shed, and you're just like, fuck. Like, you know, like what happened, man? Was it too hot down here or something? Like, and, you know, it just got kind of split up.
But I think right now in Texas and in Dallas, I think there's like
Dallas and Fort Worth is where it's happening now, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the Denton guys have a scene up there. And you always have your Oliver Peck, and I don't know if the Lucky 7 guys are still a thing or what.
Yeah, I went the last Southern Throwdown. I think I went to the party over there, right? They had a party.
Yeah, they used to do the party over there. But then when they bought the Yellow Rose Canyon, Oliver and those, it kind of took that energy out of Dallas.
I agree.
You know,
I mean, I would imagine, yes.
And you know, and then there's always been like these smaller pockets of like the chopper guys, and some of them are, you know, my wife works at a barbershop where some of those guys work or are hanging out. So it's there, but it's not quite as, for lack of a better term, organized as it was before or centralized. It's kind of like just a lot of little pockets, and eventually
micro scenes, man. The music scene in Austin is the exact same way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I think that at one point, I think everybody's kind of like the positive outlook. Maybe they're taking a step back to take 2 steps forward, right? Let's all go reevaluate this stuff and then come back together with more. I mean, Chopper Supply was it was the beacon on the hill.
Place, bro. Yeah, I went there. I've been there. I got fucking stickers at my house. I was going to give you one. You know, I fucking Kenny was awesome. You know, and I literally saw that whole arc of thing. I went there the first year it was open and fucking had Heavy in there.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when Kenny came to Born Free and gave me the first Chopper Supply sticker, you know, and the thing with the Chopper Supply thing is if Trico can't work in LA, then ain't nothing going to work nowhere. You know, like that's the one business I've seen fail more than any other business. As soon as you try to put all this shit in a storefront, it just don't work, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to do a motorcycle shop, you better be doing service work.
The crazy thing is they don't open that storefront. I never walk in and buy one of these magazines.
No, that place was legit. Yes.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And that's in that mentality.
But it's putting too much into something and not getting the results you need to keep it going, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely
the $1 million thing is not a fucking, you know.
Kenny, it seemed like, and I don't have his personal relationship with him as most people did. He did completely make me feel welcome coming around. But
yeah, I've stayed at his house, man. Yeah,
he did seem like he kind of like mentality wise, like internalized too many of just human nature problems that was going on in the world, and it kind of like took
Kenny's
him down
more
a
of a
path.
community leader than he is a shopkeeper.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and that's just that's just nature. And that's,
So
yeah.
that, like I said, that place was a collective of culture that you got.
That was a fucking beacon for Texas. And
It was.
And for us, it was like on the way to Giddy Up, we'd stop at Chopper Supply.
Yeah.
And then I'd go over to East Side at Terry's. And what's that bar that has a motorcycle on the fucking sign? Like all that shit. It's like, yeah, I like Fort Worth, Dallas, man.
Yeah, I dig it. And like I said, it's also like one to, I don't know enough about my own history in Dallas. Like I've had Rick Fairless on the podcast finally, but that's who I kind of worked for when I got into this, like through the paint shops. But there's also a lot of there's some dudes that like I worked for that don't want to lean into me, because I'm competition. But I'm hoping that with me taking a step back from painting, it'll relax homeboy enough to where he'll talk to me again, because he's a fucking wealth of knowledge of what he's done in the paint game for the last Other Side Customs.
Okay.
And he's got connected to a lot of other people that are even older dudes in the just motorcycles, choppers, whatever you want to say, in Dallas Fort Worth. And
it's a hard door to break down, dude.
Daryl Bassani passed away a few weeks back, and we got a chance to sit down and do a podcast with him, and he told us his story. And, it was one of those, like, he did a really fucking good job telling his story. Oh. And, like, if anything, like, that's one thing that I hold very important about doing a podcast is, like, tell your fucking story. Like, you want 4 hours, 5 hours? I can make this a series, dude. But if you want to sit down and give it to me, I will fucking do my best to package it as pretty as possible, right?
Speaking of that, what mark are we on for time?
We're at 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
Holy shit, yeah.
So, to me, it's literally about that. I want to share the stories, and
I don't think we even got to the story. We just got to what got to the story. You know what I'm saying? And some of these stories aren't to be told.
Yeah.
This shit, I believe that some of these stories should go mouth to mouth, human to human.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? There's that's like
you got to be in that spot.
Yeah, that's where you learn shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you stumble across the old man in his shop or hanging out at the house, and he starts talking about what he used to do in his day, you just fucking pull up a chair and shut the fuck up and listen, right? And that's the other thing.
That's the name of the game, man. Do your research, show respect, don't step on toes, don't steal anyone's ideas. Yeah. It's pretty fucking simple.
It took me a while with the podcast to, like, when those kind of opportunities would come, like, you don't shove a microphone in their face either, because when I feel like if you do that to
there's
people,
some stories that I told you, there's some stories I've been trying to get that I've just backed off, dude. I'm just like, look, man, if you're not like, this is a real, everyone knows it, but if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable talking about it, then yeah.
So to me, it's like about all that, I want to do a good job, and I want to give people from the performance motorcycle world a glimpse into this, and not just like the narrative that's been spun of like, oh, these are crusty old dirty bikes that break down everywhere, right? Because to them, if that's the narrative, then they're like never gonna give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Especially when they're thinking about their motorcycle adventures and trips in a 2-week slot from what their vacation will get.
That's fine. That's cool.
It's fine.
That's fine.
But
who knows? Like I said, but there's going to be a handful of dudes. They're going to hear something that's going to inspire them. And you know what? If anyone can hear that, man, that's worth it right there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And that's
because I same way with me, with you. Like I got this sparked at a certain time too, or I just saw things a certain way, or I don't, I was able to like figure out how I could do it too. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
yeah, you're right. We haven't even said anything about heavy.
Heavy clothing.
It's a thing.
Heavy clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
thing.
So,
I mean, can you give us that real quick? Like, not real quick, but just, what?
All right. Here's how it started.
All right.
We're into motorcycles, right? Mm-hmm. The only shirt available is West Coast Choppers. Maybe you get an Indian Larry question mark shirt, right? Nothing else. Okay. Just a bunch of bogus shit. So it literally started for me to make shirts for me and my friends to wear to represent our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of it as like support gear without the club. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how it started. That's kind of how it's going. And
so where did the name Heavy come from?
Okay, well, breeding, you saw my book collection, you know, I just loved how they would call somebody a heavy back in the 60s and 70s. Okay. If they called someone in the biker community, it was known as a heavy, that means they were a gangster. Heavy consequences come behind that dude. You know, it was just a loose, hip term for someone that, like, involved, someone, you know, into it, you know what I mean? And that, and then also obviously the music as well, you know, like the Black Sabbath and Trouble, and like, you know, it's just, it was kind of like, it was a real movement with like music and motorcycles, because this is what we do. We build bikes, right? Then we all ride them to the club, meet up, see the band, party, ride home. That's what we want to do. Yeah. We want to build shit, take it places and blow minds, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes, like when Mothership would come here, there'd be fucking 50 bikes parked on the sidewalk in front of the club. And it was insane. Yeah. It was the only time it would happen ever, once a year, you know, like when I'd promote the show and they would come, and it was, that shit was fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those poor boys bands broke up right now, but yeah.
Maybe they'll find their way.
Some good shit, man.
So yeah, that's cool, because I mean that's even like the show class. Like I've learned that was a term in the chopper
it's a show class. Yeah. That's it meant just to, like, you know, do like sketchy shit and do it with style. Yeah, you know what I mean, or do something like illegal and radical that looked cool. You know what I'm saying? like my buddy, man, we were going to this concert, and I'm like, before we get in, I'm like putting my weed in my sock and like all this shit, and the dude's wife goes, "If weed's legal, why does Zach hide all the stuff in his sock?" And my buddy goes, Zach just likes to be bad. I was just like, Jesus Christ, you're right, man. I'm just trying to like get something past security every time. Yeah. I don't know why, but like, you know, it's like I'm a bouncer, have been for 15 years as well, door guy. So I always test them, you know what I'm saying?
So when you started Heavy, I mean, like it was about getting the artists that were drawing and creating these things for you, giving them.
There were no artists creating or drawing any of this shit at all, except for Easy Wheelin' and Jay Cruz, possibly. Okay. Jay Cruz, Easy Wheelin', maybe Mitch Cody, handful. Okay, I did the first 12 shirts myself. Yeah. I did them all myself. Right. I met Easy. Easy is an insane illustrator. I immediately realized I'd better learn how to draw like him super fucking quick. Yeah. Or I need to hire outside artists. Easy was the first outside artist I hired. And once I was able, and with Easy, you could tell him exactly what you want and he'll do exactly, he'll bring it. Yeah. He works with you, dude, right? And that's why all those Heavy designs just resonated like they did, is because like we were, you know, doing it the best we could. You know what I'm saying? And like Easy's artwork definitely changed the company's direction for sure. And then at that point, like I started working with other artists, and usually as a rule of thumb, I usually have to meet the person first. Yeah. In person. Or like, you know, it's all handshake, it's all through, it's word of mouth. It's like, we're not running this like a legal fucking thing. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's really all out love, man, you know? So I get to show these artists through these shirts, you know, and fortunately my brand has become to the point where I got certain artists that fuck with me that they're not doing shit for Loser Machine, bro. You know, they're not doing shit for anyone else. They're not even drawing it for Born Free. Yeah. They're doing it for me though. You know, that's fucking like just that type of stuff is amazing. Yeah. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's, I just can't stop doing it, man. Yeah. I think I might be retarded, brain damaged or something. I don't fucking know, man. But it's just what I do and what I love to do. And I just, it's kept me alive. It's kept me out of prison. It's kept me off drugs. It's kept me out of trouble. It's given me a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And it's motorcycling, dude. At the end of the day, it's just a motorcycle.
You said something earlier when we were in the house, like how many shirts have you done, like designs? You know,
150 or so at least, you know, and that's not including the women's shirts, the hats, all the smalls, the points covers, the weed pipes, the fucking Hoover vacuum. Like, when I put this Heavy show out, You know, have you ever heard the phrase? I think it's hilarious. It took me 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, I can't wait around and be like, hey, we would love to do a collection of olive heavy art show. You know, I know it's going to come to me and be like, we would like this. You got to do it yourself. You got to connect the dots these days, dude.
Yeah.
You really do. You know what I mean? Like, because like you're saying, there's just so much fucked up, stupid information, and people feel so lost that, like, you literally have to be like, this goes to here and this, and then that's just what this, and they're like, oh, it's like fucking wild, you know? So we're connecting dots, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's rad. I think that, I mean, the name has always looked cool as shit.
Yeah, I never get tired of putting it on top of a shirt. Every shirt says heavy across the top, and it never fucking gets old. And every now and then, someone will do a design where I'm just like, I will show you the early stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like I put it together with a fucking piece of, I did masking tape, a pencil, and a broken piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, and took a photo and scanned it. Like, it is the most primitive looking, like you would, like I looked at it and it was like two different things.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just been a real slow thing that's just turned into what it is. It was slow, you know what I mean?
No, I can see that, man. It's I don't know if, like, you know, I love that. This might have to get cut out, but does it not feel like, why is it so hard for us to like titties? You know, like putting them on shirts or putting them in magazines.
Scared. No, you know why?
You know what I'm saying?
Because Instagram doesn't want them on there, brother.
Yeah.
That's why.
But
fuck
then,
that shit.
But then they are on it.
Yeah, it's a fucking, that's, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood the new Easy Rider.
I'm not like, dude, this last shirt I put out's got titties on it. You know what I'm saying? And like literally, like when the chick was like, do you want titties on it? I was literally like, oh, do I gotta like put an X over it, or is Instagram gonna knock it down? Am I gonna get, and then I'm just like, fuck all that shit, put titties on it. I'm like, when did I ever, here's the funniest thing. The one shirt that I sold out of this weekend was a Jeffrey Dahmer shirt. You know, I just can't get over it. You know what I mean? It's like, you just never know sometimes, you know what I mean? What's gonna do what, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's certain parts of like this culture that, you know, I want to keep alive. I want to keep it respectful, you know, but I want to keep it alive because, you know, you're not, I understand the objectification or however you would say that of women in a way, but when they consent to it,
No, you want to hear some shit, dude?
Huh.
Most of these new dudes in our scene are straight bitches. A lot of these fucking chicks in our scene are straight bad bitches, dude. I've seen more women come out in the last 5 years with art and motorcycles. They're not all chopping yet or this and that, but they're doing the same thing as the dude who bought an Evo Sporty and put it together with lowbrow.
Yeah.
They're doing the same fucking thing. And I've seen the last 3 designs that I did were all women, all right? I think I had maybe, like, when I had a woman artist like 10 years ago for the first time, it was like the first woman that did you know what I mean? But I saw like, this younger generation of chicks are like, they're kind of killing it, man.
I talked about this a couple of days. I can't remember if it was on a podcast or not, but I think, you know, 100% with the women that are like trying to get into the building phase of it, they're there. They got to put a little bit of time in it. And once that time has passed, you know, born free 18, 19, you're going to see more women that's now got the skills because you don't acquire this shit overnight.
We'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But so far I'm kind of impressed. You know what I mean? Like, not all of it, but some of it I've seen, you know, I'm kind of impressed. So I don't like go buy a bike at Harley dealership and then go join some fucking girls riding club the next day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to do that, that might cost you another $10,000. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? It's there's so many weird avenues, man, that everyone, you know what I mean, that people want to go in with this stuff.
I mean, in the paint world, there's some chicks that are fucking amazing, and we've had chicks in the custom paint world for quite a long time, so it makes sense that there's women on that scale now that can do high end work. And that's what I'm just talking about. They're starting to get more welders.
We're starting to see that. Yeah. And the best thing, I mean, you're talking about your word titties, objective, but just look out for these chicks, man. You know what I'm saying? Just look out for them.
Yeah.
Help them out. You know what I mean? If they do the same thing a dude did that earned their way in, then, you know, And I think we're going to see that for the first time, because if you look back on like motorcycle photos in history, who do we got? Pulsating Paula, right? We got maybe one or two like women that were like Sturgis fixtures or she was a photographer, and she was, you know, naked half the time. You know what I'm saying? And have you seen her book?
No,
dude, I got it at the house.
All right, I got it. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking a lot of pictures of this shit so I can try to find it whenever.
Yeah, it's like all 80s, like 90s, like when it was like the Easy Rider convention, tattoo conventions back then, when the bikers were like running all that shit back then. Yeah.
No, that's interesting because, like I said, I just want to like, I want to be respectful, and but I also want to be honest, you know, like I like fucking titties, and I love seeing them in magazines.
Dude, there's something to be,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't even know if some of these show classes would pass. I think we'd be canceled maybe at some point. I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Maybe to some fucking person that works at Instagram and doesn't know anything about motorcycles. But yeah, this is what was cool about this mag is like, I mean, eventually we had full nudity in it. And the only thing that happened is, one, we sent them out without them being wrapped, and like the post office flipped through one. And it was like, oh yeah, you got to put a seal on that, you know what I'm saying? And that was it, you know what I mean? But we were, like I said, we didn't rely, this crashed. We didn't rely on this, right? We took this, we made it our own, and guess what else we did? We were able to put pornography in it because we wanted to. Titties, you dig what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of amazing, I think, right? Like, I'm not, Chopper's magazine don't look like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking.
And I guess it goes back to what, like, kind of was saying, like, I grew up in shops, and you used to go to, like, Snap-on used to sell calendars with,
of course,
you know what I mean? So, like, you being in a shop environment, there was always that around, right? And, you know, there was always magazines that were more mainstream that you weren't going to see it, but then there was always an Easy Rider or another little zine from that another car culture. And it's like, it was just there. And I think that, like, I don't know, man. It makes me sound like a fucking horn dog or something. Like, I just got to see all the boobs in the world. It's like, not that. It's just that, like, fuck yeah, they don't care. They're doing it, you know? They're taking a chance. They're keeping it real, you know? Because you go to Born Free.
These chicks are at the prime of their lives. They're looking good. They're getting a photo, fucking in the scrapbook, man.
Yeah.
They're living it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, this new generations they take way more photos, and it goes back to Tom taking so many photos. Yeah. They probably thought Tom was taking too many photos. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But the foresight of just any of it, you know what I mean? And then even with people with their own social media pages are aware of this. You know what I'm saying? And they're just doing it for them, you know? That's what kind of weirded me out. I knew Instagram was going wrong when I saw people branding themselves with nothing for sale but like their body or shape or something. I'm like, where's the brand? Why do you have a T-shirt for that? Why do you got a sticker for that? Like,
well, the culture of Instagram, like, and the influence,
you're giving it all away, you know?
We've been talking about this lately too, is that, like, a lot of people see what other people have done with a heavy or a magazine or a photographer or whatever, and they just want to do it. So they do all the work. They got the logo, they got all the marketing down, but they don't have the substance of their effort, energy, and ideas yet, because that takes time. And I've been in some meetings lately, and I asked this question to a lot of people, like, of who they're aligning with in the situation, like the brands. Did the guy ride motorcycles and was in love with motorcycles and then teach himself how to get a camera to show the world? Or did this guy know how to use a camera and he found something to exploit that was easy to get into? So, not saying that guy can't fall in love with motorcycles and be a true, you know, person now, but you see a lot more people looking for low-hanging fruit industries.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know.
And when that happens,
I can tell you about Josh.
Yeah.
He slept on the side of the road in the gravel for about 10 years taking these photos. Yeah. He was homeless. He didn't have a house. He just crashed. You know what I'm saying? And like, I've heard him say it before. It's like, you want to get to where I'm good? Do that for a decade. Yeah. You know, 21 Days Under the Sky, people don't know the backstory on that. You know what I'm saying? Josh, the reason why he was in the front hauling ass, because he was the only real riding motherfucker out of there. He just rode back from Born Free to Chicago and then rode back again for there and back for the movie on Ironhead that he put together himself. Yeah. Yeah, first bike. And like, he doesn't change. He still rides it. And it's like that. And the epitome of like $2,000 bike made it look fucking like a $20,000 bike, rides it all over the country. Like that's a standard of like, of course he deserves to work for Harley Davidson and take the pictures, you know what I'm saying? But the substance, like you're saying, like what he did to get there. Like, dude, I heard that like when they hired him, I think they all went out for a ride and he was just going to do like a little photo shoot or something. And he stood up on his bike and did that. And they were like, the first thing they said was like, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Like that dude, he had been taking pictures, standing on his bike to get a job there. And then he gets a job there. Like, yeah, I got that out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
handcuff him now, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's wild, man. But I mean, do you want to touch on anything else before we?
No,
I mean,
man, I don't know. I've had a long weekend. Mama tried. We were both there, pretty burnt. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell I said, but hopefully it resonates with somebody. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's good, man. I'm sure. Look, I'm coming back through at some point, and you know, we'll come back and talk more and pull more books and magazines out and fucking do more shit. You know, it's like you really can't wrap up.
I know. I wear a lot of hats, man, and like you say, legacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to leave something behind too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if it's in a shoebox in somebody's closet, as long as they treasure it.
Yeah.
Because you know that's, you know, like the magazine thing is like when I skateboarded, when I first started doing it as a child, like in the 80s, skateboarding had just died, but the older kids gave me their magazines, right? And I would look in there and there'd be a skate park in North Carolina. Guess what? We're going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
We go find this fucking skate park that would be abandoned 20 years ago, like a dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
And skate it and shit. But that was all I had, man, to go on.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? And maybe that's why I try to help people out and connect the dots now, because it was such a struggle for me just to do anything where I come from, you know?
That makes
Rural
sense, man.
America, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Zach, man, I really appreciate it, dude. And like I said, I kind of don't want it to end.
Nah, let's get some food, go see some music, or maybe not. We'll figure it out. Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for laying all this out. And you know, I can't wait to get my hands on some more of these and check it out.
Yeah, dude.